So just a few minutes past now, so I don't think there's anybody left in the waiting room. So shall we make a start?
Yeah, absolutely. Welcome everybody. Welcome to our fantastic careers showcase at the Dorchester, Park Lane, London. It's just really a real honour to be working with such an iconic hotel, such a fantastic hotel collection. I'm going to show you a little bit about all the various aspects of working at the Dorchester, everything from front to back of house, you know, the whole floristry offer, as well as housekeeping and how everything contributes to it being a 5-star operation. We're also going to show you that you've got every chance of working at a fantastic operation like this and how you might go about it, because Alice Merry will talk you through that in a moment, and more so at the end. So we're just going to introduce you to Mario Pereira, who's the executive chef at the Dorchester. Then we're going to hear from Denise Charles at West London College about her experience of working sort of with the Dorchester, with her students. We're going to watch a little film of an event we did at the Dorchester when we could do events last year, which was absolutely brilliant. So you can see exactly what you can expect, you know, from visiting the Dorchester in person. And then we're going to introduce you to Neil, who you've just seen a moment ago, Neil Rippington. He's our Director of Education. He's going to talk you through why it's so great you've got the opportunity, you know, you've got a Chef's Forum Academy at your college, and this is the kind of opportunity we can offer to you as a student at your college. Not every college in the country has a Chef's Forum Academy, but you do, so you're very, very lucky. And you've got a corridor to fantastic employers like this. So without further ado, Alex, have you got the Dorchester video loaded?
Go on. It didn't wait around long enough.
That was a lovely memory. It was a great day, and we hope to be able to do this in person again, you know, when we're able, when restrictions are lifted. And of course we'll invite you all along. They've got a huge ballroom there.
Who's not logged in yet?
I'm sorry, on the way.
Put yourselves on mute as well.
Oh.
Right. I'm now going to introduce you.
Drop the mic, but not the camera.
Sorry, sure you're muted.
Sorry, everybody. Could we just ask you to mute your microphones? We're getting a lot of background interference, please. Thanks.
I think it might be the one that Crystal's on. I can't make it mute. Crystal, if you can mute, please.
Everything's muted on our side.
Okay.
Okay. I'd just like to introduce you to the head of curriculum for hospitality and catering at West London College, is Denise Charles. Denise actually attended this event with us and her students. So Denise, can we spotlight you for a moment, please?
Okay. Hello everyone, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Hello.
Hello, hello.
Where are you today?
I'm in the Valrhona kitchen because we've got a session at 1 o'clock with Michael Dutton from the RAF Club. So we've got a really busy morning. Chef's Forum always keeps us very, very busy.
Oh, brilliant. So how many students did you bring along to the Dorchester event when we did that one we just saw?
I think we had about 36 students. Even more wanted to attend, but we were like, we can't have any more than that, because we didn't want to take over the whole show. But we had students working front of house, back of house. We had some apprentices along for the day as well. All the students had a really, really great day. There was just so much for them to do, for them to learn. Some students have never been to such a big operation, to run an event and be part of an event. So they, you know, all the feedback that we got was absolutely fabulous. We had students that won different prizes and won a book. They were just so engaging. And I think it kind of contextualized what they've been learning at college. They were able to put that into practice at the Dorchester. It was fun. It was just, you know, it was a fantastic day. Students are still talking about it now. They're still like, Miss, do you remember the day we went to the Dorchester? How much fun we had, how much we learned, all the produce we were able to see. And I think for them as well, what they realise, it's not just about becoming a chef in the hospitality industry. It's actually much wider than that. You know, we were able to talk to some of the guys who were talking about disposing of waste products and how that can be done in an effective and efficient way. They were able to talk to housekeeping. There was just so much more that they didn't realise. The lovely ducks that we got, they're always going on about the ducks that they got in their gift bags. So I think they were able to actually realise that hospitality is not just about being in the kitchen working or being front of house serving. They were actually able to identify that there are other jobs that come along with the hospitality industry. And I think for me, that's always one of the things I really like for the students to identify, that it's not just about, sorry, I had my camera upside down, it's not just about being in the kitchen. So I love that. You know, there's so much more to hospitality than being a chef. The chefs are all, you know, we're great and we love cooking, and that's what a lot of the students come here for, to become chefs. But, you know, not everybody wants to work in that department. So for them to be able to see that there's more to it is really, really good. And we've been having such fun, even during lockdown with Chefs Forum. You know, Chefs Forum was so good at coming up with new initiatives and ways of engaging with learners and keeping that education going. You know, we've been doing virtual cooking with the chef, virtual cooking where the chef comes later on to see what the dishes look like. Yes, we all can't wait to have a chef in the kitchen working alongside the students, but being able to still continue the process of having learners learning from different people has been great. And I really do thank Chefs Forum for being able to put that on and support the education and learning of all of our students. So thank you so much. And another great day I'm sure we're going to have now, you know, this next couple of hours is going to be fantastic for the students again. Just keep watching the numbers go up, so that's great. Thank you.
Denise, I mean, you might have heard about our Young Pastry Chef of the Year competition that we're just launching this week. We'd love all of you guys to enter if you're doing, you know, if you're fancy yourself in the next best pastry chef in the UK. This is for you. We've opened the age limit up a little bit, so it's 16 to 21, and we've also included level 2 now due to popular demand. So all those details will be with your lecturers by the end of the week, and if you're interested, get involved. We've actually got one of the judges from the Dorchester, Thibaut from Alan Ducasse, Restaurant Alan Ducasse at the Dorchester, so he's actually going to be judging along with some other great judges, which Neil will tell you more about in a minute. But I just want to introduce you to Alice. You know, Alice Mary. Can you hear me?
Hi.
Wonderful. Alice, what do you do at the Dorchester?
Morning, everyone. It's so nice to be here. Thank you so much for logging on. We are so excited to do this with Chef Forum. They've been amazing to organise this for us. So thank you for logging in. I am the Talent and Culture Manager here for the Dorchester and 45 Park Lane. And then we also support Caviar Park out in Ascot, which you'll hear about more from Adam. And I look after all things careers, recruitment, work experience, all of that kind of stuff. So I'll chat to you a little bit later about what that looks like here. But I hope you really enjoy the day, because it's so fantastic to see you all, and hopefully we can invite you to the Dorchester soon.
Brilliant, Alice, thank you so much. We'll meet you again at 12:45 for you to talk us through how to actually apply, you know, for jobs and also work experience, the things you need to be thinking about if you are going to apply to work at an establishment. So Mario, Chef Mario, do we have you, please?
Good morning. How are you? Welcome to the Dorchester.
Good morning, Mario.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Chef.
Wow, welcome. I mean, what a great day. You know, just to give you a heads up, today is our 90th anniversary at the Dorchester.
Happy birthday.
So 90 years, I think I'm the 9th chef at the Dorchester. So I think it's great opportunity to give something back. And I'm very proud to talk us through the culinary journey. Also with a few people from different departments who, I think 1997, I was one of you. I was a student at the Thames Valley. Now it's West London University. I learned a lot of things in my journey. Where I am standing is because of people like in the industry who have trained me and developed me, and also companies like where I work is the right place to work. So it's important we give something back, and thank you for giving for joining in, and it's a great opportunity for us. So welcome everybody, and looking forward to, I'm going to do a masterclass, and also a few other chefs are going to do a few talks and few things. So there's a big lineup, so very excited. Welcome again. Enjoy your the whole event. Thank you.
Thank you, Chef Mario. So that's Mario Pereira, Executive Chef at the Dorchester. We'll be seeing more from Mario at 11:35 when he does a fantastic demo of a Portland brown crab salad, hand-dived scallops that are this big, and crab broth. So yeah, we'll be sending you out all the recipe cards from today, and also sort of notes from each presentation. So don't worry about whether you're going to be able to try these recipes out for yourself, because we sorted all that out for you. Now I'm going to introduce you to Neil Rippington. He's our Director of Education at the Chefs Forum. He's going to be interjecting with the chefs as the day goes on, and making sure that everyone kind of is on board. You know, if you've got any questions, do stick them in the chat. But Neil's just going to give you a bit of Zoom etiquette. So we're kind of running this event the very best way we can. All right, take it away, Neil.
Okay, thank you, Catherine. Welcome, everybody. It's going to be a fantastic couple of hours ahead, so I don't want to take up too much of your time. But as Catherine said, my name is Neil Rippington. I've recently joined the Chefs Forum as Director of Education. I've worked with the Chefs Forum for a number of years now in my previous roles. I was at University College Birmingham for the last 10 years as Dean for the College of Food there. As part of the Chefs Forum, you have some absolutely fantastic opportunities at your colleges. You're accredited as Chef Forum Academy, so you've got brilliant access to a network of chefs, restaurants, restaurateurs, hotels. There are brilliant events that you can get involved in. There's quite a few of you that will be joining us at the games there in July, hopefully. And as Catherine mentioned, competitions. So this week we have launched the Young Pastry Chef of the Year competition. So I'm hoping that you'll really get stuck into that. It's a very simple structure to it. The first round will just be a paper entry, and then after that we'll be whittling down the top 20 paper entries to 20, and then from there we'll be setting a task which will put your creative skills to the test, really. So we're really hoping there's some brilliant prizes as well. So we're really hoping that we get a good response and a good number of entries for that as well. So as I said, great couple of hours ahead of us. We've got demonstrations from the various chefs Mario was just saying, so we'll be seeing Tom, and we'll also be going over to one of the Dorchester's other property, the Dorchester Collection's other properties at Caviar Tart with Adam. So really enjoy the demonstrations. There'll be some great talks. You'll be looking at facilities. You'll be getting a feel for the experience of what it's like to be a customer at or a guest at the Dorchester and the Dorchester collection of hotels. So we'll be looking at wine and service and housekeeping and the importance of ambience and welcome and all of those things that go to produce a fantastic experience. And you really do have a brilliant opportunity to engage with a world famous group of hotels. So please really make the most of this opportunity. And as Alice was saying, at the end, you'll all receive information as to how you can apply for work experience positions in the future, and some tips as to how to prepare yourself for interviews and those sorts of things. So as Catherine said, just a little bit of Zoom etiquette. We would just ask everybody to mute. So in the bottom left-hand corner, you'll have the mute. You can turn your mics on. It's just to really stop any background noise, because obviously if phones ring or dogs bark or anything, else happens, that everybody sort of hears that. So it's only for that reason. You'll see in the right-hand corner, there's a reactions box. So if you hit the reactions box, you'll be able to raise your hand. If you'd like to ask a question, please raise your hand or stick it in the chat facility. And then we'll see that whoever's raised their hand would like to engage, and we'll try and bring you in. We would really like to have an opportunity for everybody to ask questions, so we'll play it by ear a little bit and see how we do for time. But we will try and get you as engaged as possible. But please put questions, comments in the chat. Use the reactions facility to give the chefs and the other speakers, demonstrators, a little round of applause or a thumbs up if you particularly like something, because we want you to be engaged in this whole experience as well. So we're bang on time. It's just coming up to 11:20. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Adam Smith, who's the executive chef at Caviar Tart. So we'll be heading over to Caviar Tart in a beautiful part of the world, out near Ascot. So we're over to Adam. Welcome, Adam, and over to you.
Good morning. So thanks for that, Neil. Like Neil just said, so we're the Caviar Tart is the country house, the only country house in the Dorchester collection. So bringing you away from the city centre out to Ascot. I wish this was my kitchen. I'm not at home. We're actually inside North Lodge, which is one of our cottages on the estate here at Caviar Tart. And we designed this cottage, only opened at the back end of last year, just before the last lockdown. But when we designed it, we put a chef's table and a chef's kitchen in it for exactly this reason now, and also to host private dinner parties, as well as for guests coming to stay with us. So the dish I'm going to do today has become a sort of signature dish here at Caviar Tart in my nearly 5 years. It's a caviar tart. I think it becomes signature because it just epitomises everything that I'm about, everything that we're about at Caviar Tart in terms of our food philosophy and the way we approach things. It's based on just very beautiful, very fresh ingredients, treated simply, and hopefully that we can highlight them and allow them to shine through in everything that we do. So the base of the caviar tart is our beautiful Portland crab. So I noticed that Mario's also doing Portland crab on his salad as well, which is great. And again, I think that just shows some consistency in the focus that we both have across the collection in terms of quality and where we're sourcing our ingredients, because you have to have something coming through the back door that's amazing to hopefully serve something that's amazing. It doesn't work any other way. So this crab, this one is already cooked, just for a bit of Blue Peter style in terms of the demo. But I'm a bit of a purist when it comes to the cooking and to presentation and flavors and things like that. So basically when I cook the crabs, I just cook it in salted water, but enough salt so it tastes like the sea. If I was close enough to the sea to get seawater, I would use seawater, but we're a little bit far away. It'd take most of my day. So that's just been boiled. A crab this size, which is about 2 kilos, probably for about 12 minutes. And then we ice bath it, and then we just taking it out. So we're going to start with this. We're going to just take off the claws. Okay. So we're going to take the claws into one container and then the feet into another. For this dish, I'm only going to use the white meat of the crab. Again, I think it's a much cleaner, much fresher sort of taste that works particularly well with the caviar and the other condiments of the dish. And then the heads and the brown meat we'll actually use in other areas of the hotel. I think one of the benefits of being in a hotel and not a restaurant is that you have all different outlets to use things up. So we'll use the white meat in the restaurant Caviar Tart for the caviar tart, and then all the heads and the shells will go and we'll make a nice beautiful bisque that we actually is on the menu with the sea bream at the moment down in the bar. So take the claws off. And then we're just going to break them up. Okay, so we're just snapping them at the knuckles, at the joints. It says. and then we're going to use a knife. I think one of the keys to this, again, is you don't want to smash the shell through it within an inch of its life, so it's get all tiny fragments. So the less that we break it, the better. If we start hammering and breaking the shell down too much, then we got more chance of getting the shell into the crab meat. And there's nothing worse. And I am generally that person that every time I go out and I order crab, I'm the one who always gets the shell in there. So the last thing we want is for our guests to have shell. So if I see any big shards, we're just going to prise the crab away. Again, in the perfect world, I would tend to do this while the crabs have been chilled down, but they've not been overly chilled. So we'd cook them, chill them for about 20 minutes, and then pick them and crack them. This one has been in the fridge because I did it Blue Peter style this morning in good time, so I didn't want to be rushed. A little bit. And that, what it does when they've been done and they've not set for too long, it allows you then to come away from the shell a little bit quicker. This is beautifully cooked, so all coming out. Like I said, where we can, we're keeping the shell as whole as we can so that we don't get any of that shell into our crab meat. Okay. Just using a spoon to take that out. Again, I think one of the beautiful things about cooking in general is that there's not really any right or wrong way. It's just a preference. And what we do as chefs is we go around and we spend our career working in different places and different establishments to figure out, learn different techniques, different styles. And when we become a head chef or an executive chef, we then have that luxury of choosing our own style of what we want to do. So that is why the things like just salt water for me with the crab is what works. Some people like to do a court bouillon or have a more complex cooking, but for me, I think salt water is just enough. Okay, I'm just going to wipe my hands. So we've managed to get the crab from the shell. I've just done one claw for ease. And then we put it onto a tray. Again, I'm just going to use gloves for this because we actually manhandle the crab a little bit too much to not. And then what we're going to do now is we're going to start the process of picking the crab. So what we want to do, again, you don't want to hammer the crab. You want the beautiful, if you can see the beautiful texture in the chunks of the crab is what you want. You don't want to hammer it down, but what you do want to do is make sure that there isn't any shell in there. So with your fingers, just very gently, and it helps that the gloves are tight, is we just move the crab from one end of the tray to the other, making sure that there's no shell in there. And actually in the kitchen when we're doing this, I insist in the restaurant that, and whenever we use crab, we have it on in the all-day dining room service menu as well. We use it for, we got a little crab brioche sandwich on there. But whenever we do this process 3 times, and it has to be done by at least 2 different people with the same batch. So again, that's why we're using gloves. Again, and we generally work over ice, but I'm just doing a little bit just to make it nice and quick. And then what that does is that, again, it can be quite a laborious job. Or tedious job, I say. So when you're doing this, if you're on your 3rd pick, sometimes people can become a bit complacent and not pay the attention they need. So that's why we insist that 2 people do it 3 times over. Okay, so we're just picking it from one end. We get some nice chunks. We don't want to break. If the flesh of the crab is in nice chunks, then we'll just keep it like that. And then we'll just move it from one side to the other and make sure there is no crab. No shell in the crab. Okay, so that is now done. Okay, yeah, that was nice, and I'm just going to do it once because nobody's going to eat this. But if we were selling it, we would do that process 3 times back and forwards. Okay, then to season the crab. So as Neil said, you're going to get the recipes afterwards. But the actual seasoning, I think. Again, our style of cooking is very based around the best of British. The crabs are British, they're beautiful, but we do use ingredients from around the world to highlight and help the core British ingredients shine. So to season this, we're going to have some pickled cucumber. So basically, we peel the cucumber, we dice it, we peel it, we dice it, we keep all the peelings and the peel go to make a pickle. So all the peelings and the heart of the cucumber we put into a food processor, along with some dill, some vinegar, some salt, some sugar, and then we blitz that up so we get a beautiful green pickle, and then we pass that off, and then we vac pack the diced cucumber with that. So we end up with those quite dark there. But we've got a nice dark green diced cucumber that we're going to use to season. Again, crab, cucumber is a very, very classical flavour combination, which is, things become classical because they work. Things don't become classics because, or enter into classical cooking because they're, you know, they don't work. And I think what is important, and I always talk about our food being very classical in its makeup, but that classical doesn't have to mean old-fashioned. I'm very passionate about classical cooking, and you know, flying the flag for it. A lot of people, particularly younger chefs coming in, they want to do things that maybe they've seen things on Instagram or they've seen what other chefs are doing, which is great. But to be able to do that, you need to be able to understand the basics of classical cooking and take them skills and that knowledge to then build on and you know, enhance and what becomes then modern cooking. So on the other side of that, we have to again season it. So again, a little bit different maybe, but some ginger. So we've got some ginger. We have some shallots, which we've then again very fine brunoise, and we vac packed it in raw ginger juice. Again, so this is not, we don't want something to become spicy, and definitely not to overpower the crab. But we want to season it so that when a guest eats it and puts something into their mouth, they get them highs and lows and peaks and troughs in terms of the sensation within their mouth, whether that be texture, heat, temperature, or seasoning. Okay, so some of that whole liquid mix goes into there. And then we're going to put some fresh lime zest. Again, I'm a big fan of citrus. I use citrus and I use the zest quite a lot. You walk into our pastry fridge, the pastry always moaning because the kitchen guys will be zesting lemons, limes and oranges and things all day long, and then putting them back in the pastry fridge for them to juice later on for breakfast or for their lemon drizzle cake or whatever it might be. But yeah, so we've got some zest, the ginger, and with the shallot and the cucumber in there. I'm going to bind that all together with some creme fraiche or sour cream. Again, crab, creme fraiche, cucumber. Couldn't get any more classic in my book. Okay. So you've noticed one thing I've not put in here is any salt. And I think, again, it's about balancing a dish and flavours. So the crab itself has been cooked in a high amount of salt, of seawater, essentially, or the taste of seawater. So again, that's nice and seasoned and sweet. We've got the ginger, we've got the pickle. The pickle itself has got a little bit of salt inside. But then think we're going to cover this whole thing with a layer of caviar, which in itself is salty and can be seasoned. So the creme fraiche is just in there, and it's just enough to bind. So it's all just a season. It's not wet and it's not sloppy. And we just keep that mixed to one side for the moment. Okay. So it says a tart, and it is actually, on the menu we call it a tart, and we call it the tart the second. We actually put 2.0 on the menu, solely because it started off as a tart show, and we used to make, again, I think this is a sign of the evolution of my cooking and how we've evolved here at Caviar Tart. But when I first started this dish, I was making a hot water pastry using a dashi and seaweeds and stuff. And as I've got slightly older and more mature, actually I've come all the way back. Then we moved to a short crust pastry. Now we actually moved to a puff pastry. And again, I think that's because at the beginning I was probably trying too hard. I was trying to be too modern and trendy. Whereas actually, when you eat something with when you eat a beautiful piece of puff pastry with the crab and the caviar, the taste sensation is always a lot better. And I think that's what we always have to remember. So I have given you a recipe for the puff pastry. The puff pastry recipe I've given is for a rough puff pastry, so it's quite quick. You can use the rough puff, or you can use a traditional French sort of puff pastry, which is what we do. So what we do is we make the pastry which I've got here. We roll the pastry out so it's quite thin, and then we put it between 2 lots of greaseproof, and then we bake it between 2 trays. So one tray on top of the other. Not too heavy, you don't want to compress it, but you want to bake it so it allows it to rise slightly, but still keeps a nice even colour, a nice even consistency. That in the oven takes, again, depends on your oven. If you've got a convection oven, We cook ours for about half an hour at 170, so we get a nice golden pastry. And again, in true Blue Peter style, here's one we had earlier, or we cooked earlier. So you can see you've got the beautiful, even golden coloured piece of puff pastry. And then that's cut. And again, the smell, if only Zoom could do smells, I think maybe one day we will. But the smell of that puff pastry is that beautiful savoury butteriness. It works beautifully with the crab. And then what we do with that, then we just portion that into little fingers. Okay. So we have these here. So these are the puff pastry that we've just put into fingers. We've got our crab mix. Then we're going to use a couple of things to actually season the so we've seasoned the crab already. Again, we're going to use yuzu. So yuzu is a Japanese citrus fruit. Again, it's used a lot at the minute. There's a lot of people using it. It has become kind of trendy. But we just use a very small amount in dots, just to, again, give that, again, another acidity, another slight sweetness to the dish. You know, it gives that rounded, again, lemon, crab, caviar, creme fraiche. These are all things that work, but we're taking it and taking that classical inspiration and making it relevant to our modern guest. For this, you can use a yuzu puree, which you can buy. I wouldn't use yuzu juice. You can use yuzu puree, that come from sort of boron sort of makers that come in a kilo tub. But what we do is we buy in the season, in the late summer, we buy a load of fresh yuzus, and then we zest them and juice them and make our own sort of syrup. So we confit the zest and the juice down together, and then we just thicken that with Ultratex. Again, we use Ultratex because one thing, for this, it allows you to thicken something without actually cooking it, without boiling it anymore, without actually, you know, agar is a great one, but you have to boil something to get it to activate. And this way you get that fresh rawness and you get the thickness and the texture on the palate as well. And then on top of that, we're going to cover it with the caviar. So we use golden Ossetra caviar, which is, again, caviar is one of them things. It's like fine wines. If you talk to different chefs, every chef has their preferred one. I think my palate naturally is quite rounded. I don't like anything too, you know, the only way I can describe it is if you get olive oils, I think is a good example. A lot of people try olive oil and really love that peppery, grassy, raw note that sort of hits you in the back of the throat. Whereas for me, I like things more rounded and more palatable, that are more enjoyable and not so as aggressive. But golden Ossetra is a beautiful caviar. I don't know if anybody could guess what the sort of price of this is a kilo. We use it in 50-gram tins. But per kilo, it's next, you know, I've got expensive taste, so it's not the cheapest product in the world. But it is a beautiful thing. And then we're just going to use some more creme fraiche on the plate. I'm going to use some flowers from our own estate, which I'll address later. So again, we're just coming in on offer. I say that it was snowing last Monday when I drove into work. It was snowing last Monday when I drove into work, and then as I drove in this morning, it was beautiful sunshine. So, you know, spring is a little bit up and down at the moment, but we have all these flowers are coming from the estate here. So we have some tiny tagettes, which we have a beautiful wildflower meadow here at Caviar Tart, which we're just ploughing and planting now, which we use a lot of things from. We also have our own kitchen garden, and we also work with, we have a machine in the kitchen called an Evo Grow. I'm not sure if any of you use that, but it's basically looks like a fridge, but actually we use it to grow and cultivate herbs and flowers in there. So we've got some beautiful bronze fennel. We've got some tiny tagettes, which are nice and pretty. And we've got some mustard seeds and some mustard cress and some violas, just for garnish. Again, as the year goes by, as the season, this dish tends to be on, and has been on the menu now for a couple of years, and it's evolved. But the only thing that changes, because there's nothing particularly seasonal on there, is just the herbs and flowers that we garnish with. As we go through the year, we use different things from the garden. Okay, so to dress the dish, we've got our beautiful puff pastry, and then we're just going to line up next to it the crab. Okay, actually, excuse my fingers a little bit.
Excuse me, Adam.
Yeah.
Catherine here, Chef's Forum. Hi. Could you just give us the answer to the price per kilo of the caviar? We've just done a poll and the results are quite interesting. We had a, what do we have? 55% said it was 900 per kilo. 48% of the students said it was 150 per kilo, and nobody said £45 per kilo. So what was the answer, Chef?
So the answer is it's £900 a kilo. And to be honest, that's a very good price, which I get because I use a lot of it. So, you know, we get a very competitive price with that. Normally, that's not, you know, you can pay a lot more for caviar. We're just lucky that I have a good working relationship with our suppliers for that one.
And did you say, where does it come from? Is it the Caspian Sea?
No, so this is Belgium. So caviar, in terms of caviar, there is no more wild caviar in the world. It's illegal to use wild caviar. So all caviar you can buy is farmed. Over the last few years, I think if someone had spoke to me about Chinese caviar, maybe sort of 10 years ago, I would have turned my nose up at it. Whereas actually the Chinese are now producing some great caviar because they've grown. But this is actually coming from Belgium. Some great farms in Belgium, Italy, France, and across Europe. So, you know, and it's a very European style, it's a modern day style of caviar, this particular one. You know, what determines caviar is the salt and the time that it's left with, and the salt and the measurements and things like that, and obviously where the fish is coming from. But this is, for me, I think it's very fresh and again, nicely balanced. I think some of us, or in our early days, or may think of caviar, think, oh, I don't like caviar, because maybe they've tried the caviar that they don't particularly like. If you get something that's more of a Russian style, it can be very strong and very salty. You know, and if you go to the Chinese, a lot of the Chinese caviar is slightly pasteurized, so you get that pop in the mouth, which some people like and some people don't. Whereas for me, this one is that sort of, it melts on the tongue and it just disappears, and you get left with this beautiful rounded fragrance in your mouth, which is, for me, what I like. And again, that doesn't mean everybody is, but that's for my taste. So what we're going to do, we've got the crab, which is seasoned, lying between the puff pastry. So like I said, I'm playing on words a bit where I say it's a tart. I use the 2.0 because I can, but ultimately it is pastry and some sort of filling. And then what we do is we then use some of the yuzu gel on top of the crab, and we go all the way along. Again, in the early days, I used to put little dots to stick all the flowers on top. But then as I evolved and I matured, I realized actually when a guest eats that, I want the guest to eat it, and every mouthful, they get the same sensation. You know, they get the same peaks and troughs of the seasoning and the flavors. Whereas if they take a mouthful and they don't, and you've put the dot of puree in one place and they don't get that when they eat it, then they're missing that element of the excitement of the dish. So that's why we've changed it. And then we're going to go with the caviar. So we're going to be very delicate with it. And again, so this is on the menu in Restaurant Caviar Tart, which is our Michelin-starred restaurant at Caviar Tart. So, and a la carte menu is £85 a person. And if someone wants to take this dish, it's an additional £25 supplement just for this dish. And I think that is very good value for money in my eyes, because we give a person about 10 to 15 grams of caviar. So if you all know the price of that now, so you can figure that out yourself. And then you've got the crab. The crab itself is not a cheap product. And then you've got the skill of all the other things that come with it. So again, it's not a cheap dish to play. But again, we're in the world of five-star hotels, five-star luxury. It's not about we want people to come and join with us and have something that they can't do at home, especially, over the last 12 months, like everybody's been cooking at home. Everyone's been making their own sourdough. Everybody's been making their own banana bread and had no other choice but to cook at home. So when guests come back out again, they're going to want to come and enjoy something that they've not had for a long time. I think that's what real, top-end cooking is about giving people things that they maybe don't even understand, but they can just enjoy it and actually appreciate it, and leaves them wanting to come back for more. So to dress it, we've got our beautiful plate.
Again, we've got a question in the chat. How much are you selling this dish at, please, Chef? We've got that from Denise at West London College.
Yeah, so as I said, it's the restaurant a la carte is a set price for 3 courses at £85. And And then this dish is an additional £20 supplement. So very, very cheap in my eyes. And again, I think it's probably not a dish that's going to make my GP. But again, as and maybe Mario will talk about this later, but when you become an exec chef in a 5-star hotel and you have to think about the business side of things, you're not always going to make money on everything that you do. You know, you have to look at it and broaden your eyes and give the guest value. And the guest value is not always about giving something cheap. It's the perceived value of what the guests think that's worth and giving them something that is special. But that means sometimes in the restaurant, you know, your margins aren't so good on some dishes, but they're much better on other dishes. So, yeah, it fits into that well. So in total, I'm probably only getting about, I say only, I'm probably getting about £40 for this dish if it was to be on its own when we break down the menu price. Okay. So we've got the tart on the plate. And again, my presentation, again, years ago, I used to like doing lots of swipes and dots, but as I've got older, I've got simpler, and things become much more simple in terms of presentation for a couple of reasons. One is your style changes and evolves, but then also because it's more consistent, and consistency is key. And now, if you're running a Michelin-starred restaurant, and you know, at Caviar Tart, we have a beautiful kitchen, and we're lucky that we will have a team of around 45 sort of chefs. But within that one kitchen, we run a Michelin-starred restaurant. We have a room service, we have banqueting, we have the drawing room serving afternoon tea. We have all these things going from one space, and consistency is key. So you have to do what, you know, everything that we do. I have to be able to dress it at 8 o'clock on a Saturday night, as well as I can dress it at 6 o'clock on a Tuesday night when we're a little bit quieter. So looking at more simple, precise presentation gives me that consistency. So the creme fraiche have just gone to the plate. There's no seasoning to the creme fraiche at all. So again, this is all about sourcing a beautiful creme fraiche. And I think people sometimes think I'm a little bit pedantic, but there's, you know, everything that you go and buy, you get different grades of quality. So, you know, we source our creme fraiche from a farm in Hampshire, which is an absolutely beautiful, it's very rich, creamy, sourness. It's a great creme fraiche. I mean, you can buy creme fraiche in the supermarkets, and there's big brands that we all know that would do that. But again, it's about, you know, one of the most enjoyable parts of my job is working with suppliers and products to source the best things that we can for that. On top of that, I've just seasoned that with a little bit of Espelette pepper. So it's basically like almost like you know, slightly spicy, slightly smoky sort of pepper. And again, it just seasons the creme fraiche because there's no added salt in there. Then we're going to start off with some of the bronze fennel. Bronze fennel is actually one of my favourite herbs. It's always one of the first ones to come out in the garden. We have this is all based around, we have the sunken, we have a few different garden areas at Caviar. This is in the sunken garden, and I work with the grounds team for them to plant things that work for them and their design and their aesthetics of the garden, but also things that I want to use in the kitchen. So we killed a couple of birds with one stone. So a little bit of bronze fennel. Again, I'm a bit out of touch. I've not plated anything this refined for about 5 months now. So, and I think, again, the privilege of becoming the exec chef is that generally you only have to make one nice, then you can have a team of people around you who like to do the rest for you. So with some tiny tagettes, again, very early, but they're starting to come through in the Evo grow. Again, the good thing about the Evo grow is you can use it all year round, and you know, most things can take between, some things as quick as 6 to 8 days, and some things take a little bit longer. It means we can have some things all year round because it's growing them inside. Okay, so a few of the viola flowers. And then a few.
So Adam, just while you're finishing that off,
yeah,
I think it's really interesting that, you know, you're seasoning the cooking liquors rather than seasoning afterwards, because obviously, you know, there's thoughts that chefs use a lot of salt when they're seasoning everything practically, but it's really interesting to season in the way that you've described, that the seasoning actually replicates the ingredients' natural environment. by making the water taste like. So do you use that across other products like meat and vegetables? Do you use the same principle?
Seasoning is about building layers. So if you make a soup and you don't put any seasoning and then right at the end you throw a load of salt in, your soup's going to be salty. Okay, so seasoning is about layers, and it always does depend on the dish. So, you know, a lot about all my shellfish, whether it be crab, lobster, langoustine, if I'm going to cook them to serve in this sort of way, always just boiling salted water. I think it brings out this natural sweetness and the taste of the crab. Again, when we're cooking vegetables, again, whether it be boiling salted water or whether it be that we're using a salt pastry to bake things, we do that quite a lot because, again, it builds that chasm of pressure that keeps all the flavors within. But it's always about building layers, and seasoning is absolutely key. And I think as I've got older, as the trends in society change, people are now more conscious in what they're eating. People are more health conscious, and all of us, you know, have to be conscious of what we're putting into our bodies. And salt is one of them things that you don't have too much of, but you need to have a good, you know, it's about having balance, isn't it, like with everything. But in this sort of circumstance, you know, if the crab's nicely seasoned, and if you can see there's 15 grams of caviar on top of there, so, you know, the caviar itself is fish eggs that have been salted. That's what caviar is. So the seasoning is already there. So it's very important that you get that balance in the dish and you build that and layers of flavour. When we look at things like meat, again, it depends on what we're doing with the meat. You know, if it's a slow cook, very often we'll brine that. Again, it gives you more consistency. If you take a beautiful piece of meat and you brine it, obviously it will affect the texture. You cook slightly differently. But then also, you know, you have that consistency. You're not relying on somebody to put salt on the outside. What if somebody forgets to season the outside? Whereas what we would do is maybe have a brine and we have a timer, and, you know, the timer goes off. Okay, it's been in the brine for however long that is, depending on the piece of meat and the cut and the size. So it gives us that more consistency, and that gives you that faith in, not the faith, I think faith's the wrong word, but it gives you that confidence that, you know, everything you serve is going to be of the right standard, and you don't have to physically taste everything yourself because you know that the process is there and in place. Okay, so that is that. I don't know if we can see that, but that's our caviar tart. So again, very, I think, understated. Like me, doesn't look like much, but tastes really good. But yeah, it's very simple in our presentation. It's about the refinement, the quality of ingredients, and that is it. Thank you.
Yes, beautiful, very elegant. You can really establish the flavours that you described. So thank you very much, Adam.
My pleasure. So, Catherine?
Yes, so thank you very much, Adam. We've had some interesting comments there. It was a great demo. Interesting you're using EvoGrow now. You know, actually, your hydroponic cultivation. We've done quite a bit on that, and Cookbook, who are one of our sponsors, are going to launch a similar thing with a company called Bloom Cubes, where the actual Cookbook seeds are going to be available to actually grow on site. Just out of interest, do you have the EvoGrow on display in the restaurant to showcase to guests? Are they able to see it?
No, it's not. It's not in the restaurant. And again, you mentioned Cookbook. I mean, Cookbook is another company that I've worked with as well, depending on the product, because you can't do everything. You don't have the space to do everything you need. And companies like Cookbook, I've actually been out to their factory in I think it's Rotterdam, I believe, right? Yeah, we had with Frank, and you know, it's fantastic setup, and actually it's mind blowing. If anybody ever gets a chance, I think there's the sort of thing. If the chef, I think I've been a chef for 15 years before I got that opportunity, and it's amazing to see what they're doing out there. To, you know, the scale of what they do and their thought process behind it. And but no, them things are great. And I think, you know, what we try to do is we have 240 acres of estate here. You know, it's a beautiful part of the world, sun, rain or snow. So we try to use as much as we can. So whether that be wild garlic, which we have around the estate at the minute that we use in the elderflower season coming up, the vegetable gardens, and the wildflower meadows. So where we can, we use that best we can. But also, you know, we're never going to have this, just, you know, the diversity of the business. You're never going to be able to do everything. So some things you're buying from outside, and then other things you grow inside the kitchen, whether it be EvoGrow. And there's other brands that do the same sort of thing as well.
But it's a massive trend, and we will be seeing more of that, I think, in the coming years. There's even a move to try and put them into supermarket aisles eventually, you know, so that you're actually buying freshly grown produce and putting them into sort of sustainable containers. But we've gone massively over because we're just so interested in everything you've got to say, Chef. So we will kind of go back to our timetable, but we are running a raffle today, everybody. So all your names will be automatically put into a generator, and we will pick a winner. So one of you lucky students are going to be able to take one of your course mates and your lecturer to Caviar Tart to go and visit Adam and the team. We're also going to be doing another raffle for the same at the Dorchester. So 3 of you lucky participants, well, 2 students and a lecturer are going to go to visit both properties. So best of luck with that. We'll let you know. I mean, one will be drawn at the end of this session and announced later today. And we'll give you a feedback form. If you could kindly fill out our feedback form, you get another bite of the cherry and a chance to enter the competition. So best of luck with that. Now we've got executive chef of the Dorchester, Mario Pereira, along with Soam and Travanan, who are going to produce another crab dish. This Portland crab looks absolutely fantastic. Mario, can you hear me?
No, it's not.
No. Hi.
Hi, Mario.
How are you doing? So yeah, I think that was a great start. Thanks, Adam. I think it's lovely to start with such a piece of art, actually, I would say. And it's important, as Adam mentioned, when you pick up ingredients, I think it's important people who will love to create food. It's important to have the quality and the right product. And also it's very important to look at the seasonality as well. So what we have decided actually today, the dish that what we are doing is actually, it's a Portland crab salad. It's a brown crab come from Portland, and to complement that, that is kind of very much in season. And it's more like a very spring summer dish, and it's one of my signatures. So few ingredients, something probably you have never worked before, or some of the ingredients we have done maybe onto a different level. So it's quite important. So like Adam mentioned, we are not going to talk much about the crab, probably sort of just go through how the crab being done, and also the diverse scallops, and a few ingredients to complement the dish and to finish and execute. So a couple of things. The scallops. So obviously scallops was picked yesterday, and we get delivered this morning from the supplier. And same with the crab meat, sabran and so on. We're going to talk that in a minute. And few ingredients what we're going to use. So we have a little bit of watermelon radish, finger lime. I hope everybody can see that. Then fennel flowers. White garlic is very much in season, and some borage flowers. And also we have some salad, a little bit of molten salt and bee pollen. And here we have a little bit of chopped chives and bronze fennel and some chervil to finish off. And here we have some panko breadcrumbs, just fry them in a little bit of butter, just to give a little bit of texture and flavor towards the finish off the dish, and some good olive oil. Let me introduce Saranan. Probably he's going to talk about a little bit about the crab, how crab been fed.
Hi, good afternoon. The crab we buy is basically a 1.5 kilo of crab. This is from Scotland. Scotland produces a great quality of the crab, so we always buy them up fresh when we cook ourselves. It's not pasteurized. It's put in our home. We put them in a good stock with a report, basic crab leaf celery, and we cook them for 20 minutes, 50 to 30 minutes. So how the crab, like if it's a smaller version of crab, it takes 8 minutes. So 1.5 kilos, it takes 20 minutes. So the yield already is Adam explained you very detailed about the crab. The yield is almost 14% of the crab. So if you cook 1.5 kilos, you get around 200 grams of white crab meat. So that's the one. You're going to place it on the plate. And also the other main ingredients is the scallops. Saham will explain about the scallops.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm welcome students, and thanks for coming today for the Chef's Forum. It's a very amazing event. So I'm going to talk to you about the crabs, about the scallops. Scallops are basically like 10 types of scallops. We divide them. They come in different sizes: medium, large, double XL, double XL size, and we have a little supply. We supplies because it's a free diet for us and get fresh scallops every day. These are some samples we have. And then score for fish that if you want to get. I'm just going to show you roughly how do we really prep our scallops. Yes. We have the scallops over here, nice double XL large. Might be slightly open. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to tilt it up lightly, and I'm just going to store this meat. A small piece of meat stuck in there. Once you release that meat, you can see it's already open. That's what we need to see, and then you just go with the knife. Whatever you are flexible, you can either use a nice spoon or like a knife, like which is not too sharp. Just flip it off lightly, and then open like that.
Sorry, so
can we still fresh?
So
still fresh.
Yeah, that's better. We're going to put the microphone nearer to you, Chef, please.
Scallops are still fresh. You can still see that they're like trying to give the resistance away. These are the scallop skirts, which eventually we can use to make sauces. That's the scallop roux, which you can actually dry and make a scallop powder of it. That's eventually our nice scallops. And what I'm going to do is just. So this is a small giggle over here, which I'm going to just press it down, which removes the insertion of the scallop over here. And then I just go with a knife, with a bit of a spoon, and gently cook it up. See, just cooking up in a way that is in this way. And comes upside down like that. What I do is basically put my finger and just go gently with my thumb and release all the attached elements to it and go around. That's just what. Gently wash it and dry it and keep ready for your service. These are the nice ones. And these ones, you take it off and you wash them in nice running water till you see all the giggles are out. They become very translucent, and these you can use to make the basic sauces for it. Yeah, it doesn't get mixed. So the only thing you can possibly do not use is the guts. That's all you can use for the scallops. And don't forget the shells. Always, if you are in a theater, you keep the shells. We keep the shells together. So that's all the scallops. Just a quick tutorial of how to prep the scallops and what are the basic guidelines of how to prep it and how to keep them safe. And Mario will continue with the dishes now. Moving forward.
Thank you. So the crab meat, I think everybody can hear me. So crab meat is actually we mix with a little bit of chopped chives, a little bit of creme fraiche, and a little bit of mayonnaise, and salt, pepper, a little bit of palate, just to get a bit of acidity. So that's a little mix. And what we have done is actually we taken 2 rings. And you have basically another ring there to work in there. So let's dust the whole thing. So that's just a lemon mayonnaise. It's just normal mayonnaise with a little bit of zest of lemon and some lemon juice in there, just to give a little bit of acidity towards the dish.
Mario?
Yeah, can you see me?
It's Catherine again. Do you know that your old lecturer is watching you do this demo?
I can't hear you, sorry.
Do you know that your old lecturer, David Foskett's watching you do your demo?
Mr. Foskett, how are you?
He's just
I'm getting worried now when he watches, because I was put on the spot on there. So a little bit of Watermelon rice cut into little discs, so that is little dressing. So you to go around. Then, so this is all about spring and summer, bringing it to the salad.
So Mario,
yeah, go on.
Can you tell the students a little bit about your journey with your career?
Okay. So my journey actually, I started I was born in Sri Lanka. I did up to my GCSEs, and my journey starts when I was a kid. There was nothing else I could think of being a chef. And my parents always used to travel to London because they had a family. And one day my mom bought this magazine called Caterers. Back on the Caterers, there was this advert saying the Dorchester place to be and work to be. So I told my mom, yeah, that's the place one day I want to become the chef. And you know, my mom and dad have been always been supportive, and they said, yeah, work on it. You never know, you might have a chance. So after I finished my GCSEs, then I was quite underage. I couldn't get into an apprenticeship program, but I had a friend who used to work for Tart Group. Then I managed to get into the Tart Group to apprenticeship program. I was with them for 3 years. While I was there, my last year of my apprenticeship, from Tart, they sent me to do a food promotion in England. So I was the probably youngest guy, came here and did a food promotion at St. James's, that was next to Buckingham Palace, Buckingham Gate. And so while I was doing, and I was interviewed by Caterer magazine. So I was asked, what is your future plans? I said, look, I want to come to England and do my studies, and I want to work at the Dorchester. Hey, I mean, Mr. Foskett probably can say that, you know. Then my brother was living there. Then I went back to Sri Lanka. Then I applied with my CV to join Thames Valley. For me, I think it's one of my foundation where I started in my career. Worked with John Hubert, Professor Foskett, Malcolm G. All those lectures. Probably I had the best as my foundation. So obviously I started there while I was starting working and studying there. Then I said, I told my course director, I want to get a job at the Dorchester, and I had never worked anywhere else. And then I applied for a job, and HR just sent a letter saying, sorry, there's no vacancies at the moment, please try again. So I told my director, then he said, can't be, because I know the hotel is looking for employment, and I know the chef, this is the number, give him a call. And so what I did was I gave a call to the chef, and chef said, yeah, why not come and see me next day? So I said, yes. I still could remember the day I walked into this property, and chef took me around and asked me, what do you think? Do you want a job? I said, yes, I want a job. And then he asked me, when do you want to start? I said, tomorrow. So yes. Then I started next day at 8 o'clock, I can remember. I joined as a third commie. Then I worked in the company for 15 years. I left as senior sous. After 15 years, I left the company and I joined Four Seasons Park Train Cross the Road as number 2 as senior sous. So I worked there for about 6.5 years. It's a totally different breed. It's when you brought up in a family like Dorchester's, it's very luxurious. It's a product what we do. It's a pressure that you bring onto the table and what you give to the guests. Yeah, Four Seasons, it's a good property. I learned a lot of things. But the corporate culture was not me. I was born in a family that we used to do so many different bespoke kind of menu and all those things. After 6.5 years, I decided, okay, it's time for me to get out from there and find a job. So I was looking for a few opportunities, and I had few, and I always had a contact with the chef at the Dorchester and few people. And they always said, Mario, you should not go there. You come back to Dorchester. This is where you belong. Yeah. So instead of yeah, it's better to come to a place that you're wanted and I know. Also, I mean, then I just took the job here, and I've been in the company for almost 4 years. So during the first lockdown, 14th of July, we had another chef after the chef I joined before. 14th of July, the Dorchester made my dream come true, said, Mario, you're going to take over the Dorchester and you will be the excellent chef from now. So I'm the 9th chef for the collection. Today is our 90th anniversary. It's as a chef, I think you work hard, you put your head down, and you always have results. I think for me, I think it says a lot of things. I always tell my staff, you know, you want to achieve, you want to get somewhere, you put everything to that, and you can achieve. I think I'm the prime example. You know, I started here as a commie, now I'm the executive chef. It's a long way to go. There's a lot of things need to be done in such a way, but yeah, this is my journey. So very proud of that. And I think I have an amazing team who actually does the whole operation. I have a brigade of about 100 chefs who works directly under me. So yeah, it's a big responsibility. It's a bigger ship. We have a great kitchen, especially the master kitchen is massive. And we have a great pastry. So yeah, looking forward to this one day when things go back normal. Anybody is most welcome. We could organize something to come and see, or if you want to keep employment, always feel free to get in touch with us, with our HR team, and we take it from there. Yeah, that's my little journey. So let's finish this dish.
Very impressive journey, chef. I think everyone's in the comments saying that was a very inspirational story.
Thank you.
You know, it's great that you went from commie chef to executive chef and everywhere in between by the sounds of things. It's just,
yeah,
it's great.
Definitely.
It lets our students know that it's absolutely achievable, that they too could join as a commie and end up being an executive chef one day, you know. That's beautiful. Now you plate him.
I'm just dressing the crab salad with a little bit of all the variable flowers and a little bit of herbs, and again, this dish is all about ingredient, the quality of the ingredients, the freshness of the ingredients, and it's nice to have lovely. It's two lovely little ingredients. When you start overpowering, putting wrong things, that will not give the flavor. So it's very important to keep it minimum as possible, just so you have the best flavor of the scallop and the best flavor of the crab meat as well. So what we do is actually we have a scallop in the middle. Yeah. Then this little thing we can see. So we have the breadcrumbs, a little bit of bee pollen, and a little bit of chopped chives, and some seasoning and some escalate. That will go on top to give a little bit of crunchiness. So we have a full crab salad, and we have the warm scallops to go into the table. And what we do is when the waiters go to the table, then you press the scallops in the middle with a little bit of salt. And we'll finish off with a little bit of water. So that's the crab salad. Yeah. Okay. Any questions? So again, if I may ask a question, you know, the crab, the diverse scallop what we have, I think we paid about $3.46 per diverse scallop, and the crab meat. The total cost of the dish, I think, probably about $4.40 in total. So the selling price is about £32. So why we have £32? It's important. We are in a 5-star property. It's important to make sure you get the right ingredients, right quality, and also the right profit. It's just not the price of the scallop or the crab meat. There's so many overhead charges, so many things involved in this dish, starting from your staff to labor, the overhead, the lighting, the electric, all those things. So always when we do the costing, we always take the cost price and we times 5, and that gives kind of the selling price. Again, like Adam mentioned, there are dishes we make money. There are dishes that we don't make money just to maintain certain standard of the property like us in a 5-star property. So it's quite important when you put a dish on the menu. It's important to look at the seasonality and what is available, and it's the right price. And also we should have a good balance of in the menu where people have a choice. There are dishes will make a lot of profit, but there are dishes will not make a lot of profit. So you need to have a good balance. And one thing you look at that your sales mix and think, okay, wow, we have made money. Anything that we could do or change in a different ingredient. So those are the key things from my side. I always look at, and also another thing, what I always do is always you're in touch with the suppliers and find what is the best price, best ingredient that you can use. So that is quite important to me as well. Yeah. So that's from me. Thank you.
Okay, we just asked the students how much your XXL hand-dyed scallops are. So they're just answering the poll now, about a third of the way through. So we'll just give them another 10-15 seconds. So if everybody just wants to answer, so you've got a choice of £8, £2.50 or £3.46. So this is the one scallop. So we'll just give them another 10 seconds, 30. So last chance to answer. So here we go. Hang on, we're getting a few in now. We've also got a question about how many chefs in your brigade.
Any questions for me?
Yeah, how many chefs in the brigade?
At present, I think I have a close amount of 100 chefs just under me, yeah. But this all depends on business level, it can go up. That doesn't including Chinatown. It's just apart from Chinatown, we have 100 chefs under, yeah.
Okay, well, just going back to our results, we have 75% of people saying it's £8, only 3% of people saying £2.50, and 22% saying £3.46. So what's the answer? Sorry, couldn't hear that, Mario. Can you hear me?
Answer for me? Oh, sorry, 346.
346. So yeah, 22%.
That's the price of the scallop. Yeah, 346. Not £8, not £2.50. It's important. Again, that's the price I paid yesterday. So the price vary, depends on the supplier where we're getting and the little village what we buy in the scallops as well. And that's something we compromise with the farmer or the supplier every day, whatever is possible, because I think it's important as chefs. It's not the ingredients we just buy. I think it's important for us to have that connection with the farmers or the suppliers. And for us at the Dorchester, it's our passion is we work with the local much as possible. About 95% of stuff that we buy in, from vegetable to meat, fruit and veg and fish, is all local source. Yeah, there are things we buy from out of the British Isles, but for me, I think it's a very important thing to work with local and seasonality. Yeah, that's us.
That's wonderful, Mario.
Any other questions, guys? So how much did last questions? It's just kind of selling price.
So Mario.
Yeah.
Lastly, if you were to give, your advice to your younger self, probably 10 years ago, should we say, if you were sat where the students are, for example, if you were, 16, 17, 18 years old, what would be the one bit of advice you give to our students today?
Being a chef is not an easy job. I think chef is a lot of hard work, a lot of time, a lot of passion in that. But to be a chef, yeah, you had to work with your brains, definitely. But my key thing, you want to be a chef, you cook some good food, you work with your heart. That's the most key thing as a chef that I always believe. Even if you're doing beans on toast, do it properly. That beans on toast can be really, really good, but do it with your heart. If you're not happy to cook, don't cook anything. And you rather not do that, because I think it's very, very important. You give your 200% from your heart, and whatever comes on a plate can be very, very delicious. And people will love to come and eat for, and that's my advice.
Thank you, Mario. So you're in charge of the whole operation, the whole culinary offer at the Dorchester. You're in charge of the whole culinary offer at the Dorchester. You've got the chefs working underneath you. The next recipe we're going to see is from Tom Booton. So Tom Booton can't be with us today in person because he's up on the rooftop restaurant. So can you tell us a little bit about the rooftop restaurant and why Tom can't be here? You know, what's he cooking up on the roof at the moment with the 200 covers?
Yeah, so yeah, I think this is something very unique to us because we were thinking what we can do for 90th celebration. So so one of the things we never have done rooftop. We have a lovely space that we never used it before. For 90 years, we thought, okay, let's open rooftop and we do a pop-up with different cuisine. So at the moment, Tom opened the very first time for 2 weeks. So I think the buzz, the feedback, and the food is phenomenal. So Tom will do up to this Sunday. Then from John Philip, from Alan Ducasse, is going to take over and do for 2 weeks. And then straight after that, after 2 weeks, I'm going to do a pop-up. I mean, I'm born and bred in Sri Lanka. I thought of why not showcase Sri Lankan cuisine where I come from. I think it's one of those on the food culture in London is one of the top 5. So I'm going to do top for 3 weeks. Then we have few lineup with the Italian and a Mexican. So if you feel free, you want to come here, you can go online, do a booking. So we also have the pod in the front of our garden, and also we have a little terrace at the moment for outdoor space here. So it's a lovely F&B offering, and I think it's a unique opportunity for us to celebrate and give something different on a very relaxed and a very nice atmosphere, overlooking whole of London, from the skyline to Buckingham Palace to Hyde Park. Yeah, so amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, so what better way to be dining at the top of the Dorchester, overlooking Hyde Park? Sounds ideal. And you've got some very special barbecues up there at the moment, haven't you, Mario?
That's right, yes. So thanks to for you guys to sponsor, and also the charcoal as well. I think it's amazing. There's more things to come. I think it's great to have this opportunity, and also working together with Chef Forum. I think it's a great opportunity. We could showcase each other and do things together. So thank you, and I'm sure Tom will have, you will see some few action happening upstairs on the video. So over to you and Tom.
Go on. Hi guys, so I'm Tom Booton from the Grill at the Dorchester. Sorry I can't be live today, but we're actually running a Dorchester rooftop pop-up at the moment, and we're doing about 200 covers a day. So when you guys are watching this, I'll be upstairs on the roof cooking for 200 people, most probably going down hard. So today I've got some questions and answers from you guys. So I've got the questions here, and I'll just go through them now and answer the questions you've put forward to me. So the first one, where did I go to college? So I actually didn't go to college, which is maybe not good. But I basically did my work experience from school in a very good restaurant called The Toll Booth, based in Essex, Suffolk border. And I just ended up staying there. So I used to work weekends, and then my last day of school, I started at The Toll Booth. I was on 10 grand a year. It was the worst salary I've ever had. And yeah, I did my MVQ level 2 there, and I stayed there for 4 years. But I chose not to go to college. I chose to work in a really good restaurant and put a lot of hard work and dedication into it to learn the craft. How long have you worked at the Dorchester? So the Dorchester first approached me in early 2019 after the hotel manager came in to eat at my previous restaurant. And then we spoke for about a good 8 months, and then we came up with a plan to relaunch the Grill at the Dorchester, which we did do in November 2019. So yeah, I've basically kind of been here just shy of 2 years now. Tell us about being on Saturday Kitchen. Yeah, Saturday Kitchen, it was my first time on live TV, so please do not swear, it was very important in my head. But it was really good fun. It's quite a long day actually, even though normally you guys most probably wake up at 10 o'clock on a Saturday morning anyway. I had to be there at 5 o'clock in the morning. You do 2 rehearsals and then you kind of get ready to go. So by the time I actually went live and I was cooking, I was actually a little bit tired. So I had to have 2 little espressos to wake me up. But it was absolutely amazing, and you just have to be really focused on what you're doing because you've got to chat to Matt and the guests, and you've got to watch the production team as well, because the floor manager's showing you signs saying how long you've got left to do, and then there's a sign at the end saying hurry up, exclamation mark. But yeah, afterwards, the amount of phone calls, emails, bookings we've had for the pop-up and bookings we've had for the grill at the Dorchester has just been really phenomenal, to be honest. So yeah, it was a really proud moment. Where did your passion for cooking come from, and where did you learn your skills? Similar to the one above, really. So I don't think I ever really had a passion for cooking. I don't think anyone's born with a talent to cook. I think it's something you just learn from hard work and dedication again, really. So the 4 years at the toll booth really was the foundation of the concrete of kind of my start of the career. That's where I learned the kind of basics, a high level of basics of cooking. So yeah, just remember, there's no such thing as talent to cook. You make your own talent. What do you enjoy most about being a chef? I guess what I missed during the lockdown, because we've all had a really tough year, was firstly was being with the team. You know, I'm super lucky that I've got 12 chefs with me, who most of them have been with me for about 3 years. So we're almost like brothers and sisters, you know. So I really missed being with them, having a joke, having a laugh, but obviously working super serious when it's service time. But yeah, being creative is an amazing thing, you know, now. But for me now as a manager, I guess watching my team develop, people like Adam, my sous chef, who I first met like 4 years ago when he was a young commie chef straight over from Dublin, to him now leading kind of my kitchen. That's most probably one of the proudest. Tell us about the fantastic rooftop. What's on the menu? What isn't on the menu? It's been absolute madness, to be honest. So we're doing 200 covers a day, up on a roof what has 60 seats. So we're doing all day dining, which is hard work. I'm not used to it. So from being in lockdown to now absolutely getting slammed every day, being in service for 12 hours, it's good fun. But on the menu, we've got really simple kind of homemade sourdough with lamb fat butter. We've got a beautiful mackerel dish with blood orange and yogurt. We've got stunning ribeyes and pork chops from H.G. Walter, my butcher I always work with. And then we've got the beautiful caught fish, day boat fish from Jodie at Flying Fish as well. So yeah, and then we're doing daily specials too. So yeah, there's a lot going on. Check out the menu if you can. What is it like cooking on the Commando Joe barbecue? Yeah, it's super amazing, and thanks to all the guys at Chef's Forum for letting us borrow it. Hopefully we haven't broken too much and destroyed them, but we'll find out when Catherine tells me off. But no, they've been really good, really helpful. They're a beautiful piece of equipment to cook on. And I reckon that I've made that company a lot of money as well, because a lot of the guests have been coming up to me asking where it's from, how much they are, where can they buy them. So maybe I should get a little bit of cut of all the profits the company get from the barbecues. But thank you for letting us have them. What would you tell yourself if you were one of the students on the virtual event today? So saying, well, you guys must all be about 10 years younger than me, maybe. You must be maybe 10, 11 years younger. So I'd say work harder. You only get somewhere by working hard. You can't just one day turn up and be a head chef of the Dorchester, or you can't just one day become a head chef of a local restaurant. And take your time as well. I know that's I know that's rich coming from me, because it seems like my career has gone very fast, but I have been cooking for 14 years professionally. So you don't have to rush to become a head chef. You know, you need to find a chef you really like, stick with them for a good 3 years minimum for your first job to really understand and learn the basis of cooking. Don't move around too much, just keep pushing, and you'll go further doing that, to be honest. I've only really had about 4 jobs in my whole career, so it's quite important you kind of stick. You want to absorb everything you can from the chef you work with, you know. By the time you leave that kitchen, you want to make sure that you know what he's going to put on the menu or she's going to put on the menu next week. It shouldn't be you just do 1 year on the garnish section and then you go. You're there to learn everything, take what you can from everyone, and then you disappear and go somewhere else and do it again. And then when it's your time, you can do it in your own place. What is your signature dish? So I'm still a baby myself, so I hate that word, signature dish. It always makes me think of all the old French and European chefs who have all of their dishes. But I guess for the grill, we have the lobster thermidor tart, which has become a massive success. But my favourite one on the menu personally is our beef tartare dish. So it's a beautiful fillet beef tartare with an oxtail jelly, radish fans, and a beef fat, a egg yolk cooked in beef fat. For me, that's a real winner. How do you come up with new dishes? It's quite simple, to be honest. What you need to look at is look at the seasons, because seasons tell chefs what to cook, and then speak to your suppliers. We're so lucky because we're an island. I know we all live in England and Great Britain, sorry, and we all think, oh, it's just this, but we are actually an island and we're quite small. So when you go around the coast, you'll find so many beautiful fisheries. In Essex, where I'm from, you've got so many farms with beautiful vegetables growing. Down in Cornwall, all of the veg growing there as well. So, and connect with your suppliers. I most probably know most suppliers in Great Britain, and I make sure I'm on the phone to them most weeks, and they're telling me what's good, and I trust them. And then when I get the produce, I just cook it really simply and with respect. The most important thing for me for cooking is respect as well. You need to respect your produce, and then you can cook that with love. Who do I admire? Who was great on me? Sorry, I wrote it on top of it. Yeah, so great people for me. Ian Rhodes at the toll booth really helps me because he was the one that really kicked me up the bum. He used to be super hard on me, but actually that made me who I am today, you know? So you do need that in your life sometimes. And then Alan Williams as well. If it weren't for him, I wouldn't be where I am. He was the one that let me almost run his restaurant when I was head chef there. So that was a super exciting kind of moment. So yeah, I've got a lot of admiration for them. Other chefs I admire, obviously we wouldn't be here today really if it wasn't for Escoffier. So if none of you guys have got the Escoffier cookbook, it's definitely something worth reading. He was the famous French chef who took on the Savoy, but also he was the one what kind of he put together the kitchen kind of philosophy. He was the one that started the larder section, started the garnish section, and started the way we still run kitchens today. So he's a massive kind of admirer, to be honest. And then also a real big one actually for me, and I only really found out about her about 5 years ago, and I can't pronounce her name, but is Eugenia Brazer. So she's a French lady who I think died in the late 19th century. But she was basically the first French woman chef, and what she did and the people she taught, if it wasn't for her, then we wouldn't have all these amazing French chefs what we do today. So I think she's most probably one of the most underrated best chefs we ever had, the world has ever seen, you know. And she's got an amazing cookbook as well. It's called Untitled Chapter as well, and I bought it maybe 5 years ago, and I always go back to it, and it shows us how food actually hasn't changed over 200 years. We're still kind of cooking the same dishes, but we're just plating them a little bit differently in my head. And then yeah, I guess that could be one of my favorite cookbooks as well. So the next question is, what is your favorite cookbook? So Untitled Chapter is a really good cookbook. That would be great for you guys at college, because you've got all the old school sources, you've got everything in there you really need to read, learn and understand. And then also one of my favorite cookbooks was a book called North, which was the author was a guy called Gunnar. So he's an Icelandic chef. He's the chef owner of a restaurant in Reykjavik called Dill. And when I was reading that book, I got really into it and I loved it. That was most probably about 6 years ago now. And I said to my head chef at the time, Andy, I really want to go over to this place. So Andy and David Moore, the owners of Pied de Terre, basically sent me off to Iceland for 2 months, and I went to work in Restaurant Dill for 2 months for free after reading this guy's cookbook. And me and him are close friends now. We're in daily contact, which is pretty amazing. Not daily contact, but we're in contact, which is pretty amazing. So I think that's pretty much it. But if any of you guys got any other questions and you want to reach out to me on social media and all of that stuff, then I'm always here to answer anything and help anyone as much as I can. But thanks a lot for listening. I hope I didn't bore you too much, and I'll see you next time. Cheers. Thank you.
What? It's me.
Can you mute everybody? Thank you. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good. Okay, brilliant. No, that was a great film from Tom Booton, who couldn't be with us today because he's busy up on the roof. So we were going to show you a film that we created of Tom cooking cod, carrot, capers and Brazil nut. We are going to give you that film. We're going to send the link to your colleges and we'll send you the recipe card. It's just we've run over a little bit, and in order to catch up with ourselves, we can forward that on so your lecturers can show you that, you know, maybe after this session or when you've next got time, and we'd love to see your pictures. So do ask your lecturers to send your finished dish pictures. We're just going to do a quick poll because we have actually hooked Tom Booton up via the Chefs Forum Academy to give some virtual lectures in a few of our colleges. We're just going to do a poll amongst those here present today to see who has actually cooked that cod, carrot, capers and Brazil nut recipe. So Alex is going to put the poll up now.
I'm afraid we don't have a poll. Miscommunication, no poll.
Oh, we'll have to send one out. So yeah, no, there was a question in the chat from Owen, from colleague Gwent. I can't see it now. Here we are. From colleague Gwent. So the name of the cookbook that Tom was talking about is La Mère Brazier. So that was a book that you could get for yourselves. That's quite an inspirational publication. So without further ado, we are going to give you an introspective into the front of house offer, and we're going to learn all about afternoon tea and afternoon tea service with Lewis Hunter.
Afternoon, everyone. Hope you're all well. Hope you can all hear me. Yeah, amazing to see so many of you on the call today. Yeah, wonderful thing. Amazing insights from a lot of great people so far. So yeah, I'll try and keep it as brief and concise as possible. Just talking a little bit about what we do here at the Dorchester for afternoon tea, a little bit on the history, and then I think some fun facts at the end, just money-wise, just so you can get a bit of an idea of what the whole operation that we do. Just so you can see where we are. I'm just going to show you. So I'm coming from the promenade. So this is the promenade here in the Dorchester. You're probably going to see a little bit of this a little bit later from Philip Hammonds, who's our designer florist here. He's going to link in a little bit of what he does into what we do in the promenade as we work very closely together. So I'm going to take you through afternoon tea here at the Dorchester. Just to a little aside, I went like Mario, like Tom. I did some time at college as well in Scotland. And you know, I spent a year there, then moved down to London. So you know, the college journey is amazing and has, you know, given me a kind of great foundation as well. So yeah, all the best to you all. So what is afternoon tea? I think afternoon tea is an extremely traditional thing. And for me, as someone from Scotland, I didn't really have much of an insight to it. It's not that big a thing in Scotland. But then when you come down to England, to London, it's, I mean, you can hardly walk, you know, 10 meters in London without a hotel trying to do afternoon tea. And basically all of the big ones, the Claridge, Spotlight, everyone does an amazing offering, because it's such a big thing. It's such a traditional offering down here. Basically, it started about 150 years ago when the Duchess of Bedford wanted to basically have a meal between lunch and dinner, and that kind of developed into the afternoon tea, I guess, that we know today. It was all about scones, finger sandwiches with cucumber, which you'll see pretty much everywhere now. Earl Grey tea, Darjeeling tea was what she liked, and that was the fashion, and that's kind of the foundations of what we have now. I mean, on our menu here, we have, you know, we have cucumber sandwiches. On every afternoon tea I've experienced so far in London, it has cucumber sandwiches. It's that tradition that has kind of stuck with it, you know, all those years ago. With scones, I mean, scones is my favorite part of afternoon tea. It's, you know, it comes towards the end after your sandwiches. So we start with the sandwiches. We'd have a little treat from Mario and his team, and then we go into scones and then some pastries. Just a little fun fact on the scones. There's two ways to put the jam and cream on that people really can't agree on. So you've got the Devon way and the Cornwall way. The Devon way is to put your clotted cream first and then your jam, and then the Cornwall way is go jam first and then cream. Obviously, at the end of the day, you still achieve the same thing, but it's just down to the preference, really. And then scones were never designed to be broken with a knife. It's something that you should pick up, you should break with your hands, and then go with the cream and the jam. So if you see anyone doing it with a knife, it's not the pure traditional way to do it. Afternoon tea now as well, it's an excuse for everyone really to get dressed up, you know, and everybody that comes to us in the promenade here is dressed to the nines and their Sunday best all the time, regardless of what day it is. You know, people like that aspect of it. They come dressed up, they come to celebrate birthdays, after, you know, anniversaries, everything that you can possibly imagine. And it's a very social thing as well. You know, you're sitting around the table with all your friends, you know, things are in the middle, your stands in the middle, you're going to share some bits and pieces, and you can really have that sociable aspect, which is awesome. Talking about the promenade itself here, just to give you a bit more of an insight. So what I showed you, we're the heart of the hotel. It's the main dining room for the Dorchester. We've got about 60 seats, so not including the bar top, but we can sit about 60 covers at once. But then, you know, the big numbers are on our Saturday, Sunday, and then obviously the festive period where we can be doing up to 220 covers a day. So I mean, it's you imagine how much sandwiches Mario and his team are preparing, how much cakes Chef Daniel, our executive pastry chef, are preparing to be able to cope with those amount of numbers. It's massive. We, you know, to give you a bit of an insight into the money, we charge £70 for a traditional afternoon tea. You know, that's just for some sandwiches, a little treat from chef, some scones and some pastries, albeit they're out of this world, you know, but £70 is a lot of money. You know, that's why a lot of people come for that special occasion to celebrate. If you want a glass of champagne with that, we're going to charge you £80 just for a normal Veuve Clicquot. If you want to have it with Dom Perignon, which is obviously a very high luxury product, we're going to charge you £120. You know, so it's an expensive thing, but it's the thing that comes with it is just, it's amazing. It's amazing. So as I say, the most traditional way to go is you would start with your sandwiches, you move into potentially scones. A lot of places are going to do something maybe a little bit different in the middle just to try and mix it up, and then you finish with your pastries. And then 9 times out of 10, you'd leave with a little doggy bag with some bits and pieces that you haven't been able to finish because you'd be so full. But yeah, that's afternoon tea service in essence. It's, from a service point of view, it's all about elegance and, you know, we've got so many standards that we need to hit within the team here in the promenade to basically to justify charging a guest £70 to come. You know, you think you want to spend £70 for something, the service that we need to deliver needs to be amazing, you know. So we have to make the guests feel at home. You know, we really need to put them at ease. We need to make sure that our product knowledge is on point. We should know exactly the same amount of things as Mario knows and the team downstairs, so that, you know, if a guest asks, we can't say, oh, let me go and ask the chef. You know, the standard that we're at here, we should be able to name every ingredient that's in the cucumber sandwiches, for instance, or the beef sandwiches, where the beef comes from. So from our point of view, there's a lot of things that we need to know: how the champagne matches with the sandwiches, how the champagne matches with the scones, with the pastries. So there's a lot of things from our side that we need to know. Give you an overview of the room itself, and Phil will probably link a lot in with this, and about scents, about aroma, about how the room looks and feels, and how it's welcoming or not. You know, so the flowers are probably the biggest thing that we do here. It's such a wow, and Phil will show you them, talk you them through. But you know, the view I gave you, obviously we're not open fully at the minute, so it doesn't look as splendid as it usually does. But you know, the smell coming from a beautiful Dorchester rose, you imagine that with this teas that we have. So there's over 32 teas on our menu. You know, you imagine the aroma of that around the room with your Earl Greys, your Darjeeling, your chamomile, very floral teas. And then we've got the beautiful smell of the warm scones. So imagine those smells and those aromas in the room. I mean, it's very hard to go out through the day, you know, not being hungry, because I mean, it's out of this world, I'm going to have a little open question, and those people that are lucky enough, I guess, to come down and spend some time with us, you know, I'll probably ask when they come. But you know, it's important working in the service industry. You know, Mario talked a lot about it. You know, you need to cook with the heart, basically, you know, to make your nice beans on toast. But you know, we need to think about what is service and what is hospitality to us, because working at the level that we are here, working to the standards and the precision that we need to have, not everyone wants to do that. You know, it is high pressure, it is intense. You know, 220 covers on a Saturday is, well, it's a little bit like war at one point or another when, you know, the big seatings are coming in. So it's very intense, you know, so you need to be prepared for it. But I think as long as you know what you know, what you're all about, what kind of service that you like to give, you know, what you think service and hospitality is quite an important one. If you've got that right, you know, there's no point in, the easiest way to say it is you can't do the job that we do here, whether it be front of house, whether it be chef, without loving it, without having that passion for it. You know, you literally can't walk onto the floor not being bubbly, excited, and showing that passion to the guests, because I tell you, you would notice it if someone else wasn't passionate, if the waiter that you have at your local restaurant isn't passionate, you would notice it. So, and especially the standard that we are here, everybody needs to be basically showing what they're doing, what they love. So that's a big point. And I would ask you all to consider, I guess, what you think, what services, what hospitality is. Those of you that are perhaps a bit more front of house focused, I know a lot of you are chefs, but maybe some of you are coming to the front of house line. What that means to you, what you like to feel when you sit down at a table. It's really important, because then you're able to deliver that to the guests that you're taking care of, really. For me, it's very basic that I just like to make people have an amazing time, make them feel comfortable, make them feel happy and at ease, like they're at home. That's how it should be, and have that rapport and build that relationship with them. Anyone can put a fork down in a special way, anyone can silver serve in a special way, but if you don't have that emotional side, you won't get very far in the service industry. So that would be my kind of overview of what afternoon tea is. Very traditional, amazing experience, something to come and celebrate, a great opportunity to come and celebrate. There will be a poll question, which will be how many covers did we do. I had to base it on 2019 because obviously 2020 was a write-off for everyone. So to the nearest thousands, how many covers do you think we did in 2019? And then in 2019, Chef Mario and his team prepared over 16,000 finger sandwiches that we served to our guests. So imagine, it's not like we can just put some butter on a bread with some ham and fold it and cut it roughly. It's precision. It's super precise from the team. So you think about the work that goes into preparing over 16,000 finger sandwiches. It's massive amount of work, and that equates into roughly £2.8 million worth of revenue. So that's what afternoon tea means to us as a department. 2.8 million is a lot of money. We're the biggest revenue generating department within the food and beverage division in the Promenade. So and afternoon tea is our bread and butter, as it were. So that's where we get all our money from, really. So 2.8 million, big number. And then to do all that, I need to have a team here of 35 people, to deliver that. And that, that's just purely front of house staff. But then you have to consider the people that work in the stewarding, so the plate wash, the pot wash, the people that work in the some really good answers there on the poll. And then the chefs, having that relationship with everyone, because those 35 people couldn't deliver that 2.8 million, that 16,000 sandwiches on their own. It's all about working together as a team. That would be one of my thoughts. I don't really want to keep rabbiting on about afternoon tea. I could talk to you for hours about it, I guess. But
so Lewis, tell us the
yeah.
answer. Well, how many afternoon tea covers were served in 2019?
48,983. So to the nearest thousand, 49,000. Okay. Now, I mean, it will be a little bit more than that. It's hard to get a completely accurate number, but that's basically to as close as I could get it. So I mean, it's a lot of people coming in, for sure. And then over the festive period, we'll probably average about 180 covers a day from the last week in November until the first week in January. So yeah, it's everybody wants to come for afternoon tea, that's for sure. So yeah, don't know if anyone has any questions that they'd like to ask. As I say, I could talk for hours about it.
Lewis, you have a question there.
Yeah.
Fabrice Monperuz asked if you are involved in creating the afternoon tea menu.
We're very lucky here at the Dorchester that we've got Mario and Soham Saravan, and then Chef Daniel, who's our pastry chef, who, as a management team within the restaurant here, we will discuss a lot of the items that are going to go on the menu. I think Mario and the team can come up with a lot of ideas, or we can put stuff on the menu and trial it, but it's important that then myself and the team here get the feedback for that, which we would then share to the chefs. Because I mean, they could come up with something amazing, but really the people that are actually paying the money for it don't perhaps get the wow factor of it, they don't enjoy it, or they really, the other end of that, they love it, so the involvement and the input back from the management team and the team that are serving the guests definitely goes back to the chef, for sure.
So we visited you when we did the event, and we saw that the chefs were hard at work creating this beautiful afternoon tea for children. Can you tell us a bit about that, please?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, afternoon tea, if I was, 7, 8, 9 years old and someone put afternoon tea down in front of me, I probably wouldn't have been very happy, to be honest. So especially some of the, the flavors that we do. So the team downstairs, Mario and Daniel, created an amazing offering for kids. We've got more child-friendly sandwiches, peanut butter and jelly, jam, just quite simple things, fun cupcakes for dessert, little sponges, a little bit more simple, but things that kids enjoy. We've got a little chocolate milkshake, candy floss, carrot sticks, quite basic things, but it looks so elegant and so amazing. And when you put it down in front of the kids, they're blown away. When we have that along with the menu that we've got, that's got the facility for them to color in, it keeps them happy. And the main thing to remember is happy kids, happy parents. So if we look after them and we make the kids feel really special, then the adults are going to relax and hopefully then have another glass of champagne, as they're going through their afternoon tea. But I mean, we give the afternoon tea for free under 5. So if the kids are under 5 years old, we'll give it for free. And other than that, it's £35 for what they get. But if they want more cakes and they want more sandwiches, whatever they like, no problem.
Oh, that's lovely. They're beautiful little ladybirds, and I'm just so impressed that, and you're so right. The happy kids, happy parents. That would, because they get bored easily, don't they? So to tantalise all
exactly.
It's beautiful.
Exactly. And again, we're lucky that Mario and Soham, Sarava and Daniel are very conscious about being on the floor. And it's that wow. When I was a kid, and if I saw a chef, it's like wow. So they come out on the floor, they spend a little bit of time on the tables. If there's kids' tables, they'll go and say hello. And that along with the product that we're going to give them, that makes the experience really for them. So to see that wow, which then hopefully inspires them to get into that trade, into that craft, and end up in college and then end up working in the Dorchester. So yeah,
it's just so wonderful to have you as part of the event today, Lewis, because we're always asked in the academy to if we can do more for the front of house students as well. I mean, most of these students on the call today learn both front of house and kitchen, but it's just wonderful to see you working in such a fantastic operation. We've been asking the chefs, so it's only fair that we ask you as well. What would you say to your younger self if you were 16, 17, 18 years old now? What would you say to you then?
Probably quite a lot of things. I would say probably there's 3 things. I would say work hard and make the most of your younger years, because you can't work in some days 14, 15 hours a day, all the time. So work hard, network as much as you can, because I wouldn't be standing in the job that I'm in if I hadn't have networked 3 years ago and then met the director of F&B here, who was still here. So networking is really important. And then, as I say, enjoy it as much as you can. It's an amazing industry all round, regardless of where you are. The opportunities that can come from it, the opportunity to travel the world, meet umpteen thousand different kinds of people. It's amazing. So enjoy it, because you won't go very far in it if you don't, I guess.
Were you how long have you been at the Dorchester for, Lewis?
I have only been at the Dorchester. I started on the 2nd of March last year. So I had 2 weeks of work and then lockdown, and then 2.5 months from September.
Would you have participated in the Hospitality and Catering Summit up at Glasgow College last year? Was that you?
I did. I was at Glasgow College, not for that, but I've done a few things with the City of Glasgow College. Yeah.
I remember seeing you up in Scotland.
Yeah, a few things I've done. I've been very lucky to be involved in a few things. I did an apprenticeship, so I did 6 months in the kitchen, 9 months front of house, 6 months in a restaurant, housekeeping. So I've been privileged to do it all, and that's another amazing things with with the industry that we have, that you can literally do 15, 20 different roles within one business, with one operation. So just even if you go in at one thing, you can end up doing something completely different.
Well, the winning students who will win an afternoon tea at Dorchester and similarly at Coles Park will do a little stint with you, won't they?
Amazing. Yeah, no, absolutely. We'll get them in. We'll get them working hard and get them enjoying it for sure. But then, yeah, looking forward to it.
Well, you'll get work experience certificates for that. Even for this session, every student on this call is going to get a 2-hour certificate of work experience at the Dorchester collection, so you can put that in your folders and have it as a memento of the day. So Lewis, that was absolutely
Amazing.
brilliant.
Wonderful. Have a great day, team.
Thank you, Lewis. Thank you. So, you know, any questions for Lewis, do please submit. If you think of something after that you might not have thought to ask him, then we'll make sure we get those queries answered. And now we're going to have a little look at the housekeeping offer at the Dorchester, because, you know, as we were saying, this is all part of a service offer. You know, it's a service-led operation with excellent product, excellence in service, excellence in product. You know, that's what makes the 5-star experience. And now we're going to hear from Victoria Micah a little bit about, you know, her role at the Dorchester and her fantastic team that just put the cherry on the cake, so to speak, of the Dorchester experience.
Hello, everyone. So I am Victoria Micah and I'm a senior housekeeper at the Dorchester. So I will talk to you about housekeeping a little bit. So let me share my presentation with you. So what we are doing in the housekeeping and what is the importance. So the housekeeping department, as you know, is the backbone of any hotel, and it plays a crucial role in keeping guests and rooms and public areas truly cleaned and maintaining all the consistent cleaning, sanitizing the environment, especially in these days when we have, unfortunately, COVID around in all the world at the moment. So it is very, very crucial thing for housekeeping to maintain all the areas, not including the rooms, but including all the public areas. So it is reception, you know, the guest doors when they're coming in, also the restaurant areas to attend, just to tidy up, you know, where we need to go and clean them, look after our guests. Also, on top of that, the reputation at the Dorchester, it lays with the housekeeping department. As I always said, if not the housekeeping, I don't think that the hotels would be here, because housekeeping is the heart of the hotel. Without the bedrooms, you would have literally just the restaurants around. So we do play a vital role in the building and a relationship with our guests and ensuring repeat visits to our hotel. The aesthetic upkeep of the rooms, public areas, back of house areas and surrounding is the key aspect for us. So in the housekeeping department, so here you can see a table where we have like executive housekeeper, and then we do have some of the roles, who is managing what and who is reporting to whom. So we do have housekeeping, executive housekeeper, and then who reports to her is a laundry manager, who is responsible for our laundry and valet team. Then we have a linen room manager who is responsible for linen room team. So it means she is providing the bedding and all the linen to our bedrooms. Then senior housekeepers, we do have 3 of them, which all of them have their different roles within the housekeeping department. Everyone is responsible for something else. And also we are all responsible, all 3 senior supervisors are responsible for our supervisor team, coordinator, room attendants, house porters, and public areas. So we are managing and we are looking all, basically all the department. And also we have a housekeeping administrator who works very closely with executive housekeeper and departmental trainer. So our commitment to provide our guests the best service is, so first we ensure our guests stay and respectful and comfortable in a room cleaned with the highest standards. So we need to make sure that our guests, you know, coming from home to home, where they feel comfortable, where we making sure that all the areas, you know, whatever gets left, we leave it at the same way. So if we have, like for example, if the guest is using the hair dryer and you always see that like one day you're coming in and the guest used the hair dryer and left it in one place, so automatically we are putting it back as per standard. But then if the second day is in the same place, so we wouldn't move it, because then guest has to go back to the wardrobe, take the hair dryer. So we would make sure that the guest is comfortable and they don't need to go back and forth to take the items. Also, we guarantee our guest safety through maintaining high standards of cleanliness and sanitization in the hotel corridors, public areas, as well as rooms. So it's not only about the cleaning, it's also about the sanitizing, like for example, door handles. I'm sorry, guys, I'm just thinking, do I share the screen actually?
It's already shared, Victoria. We've done it. We've done it. So don't worry about it. You just keep talking. It's nice having you next to it so we can see both. If you share it, we won't see you or that lovely room. you haven't actually. Have you said where you are at the moment?
I will talk about that as well in a second.
Okay.
So talking about the sanitization is always also during the COVID, we have to make sure that all the rooms are sanitized up to the highest standard. So we do have additional chemicals for that, and we do have additional equipment to make sure that we are looking at the rooms and checking how well sanitized they are. So there is a limit, you know, how, like for example, room attendants, when they are sanitizing door handles, the highly touched items like door handles, light switches, TV remote controls, and other items. So we need to make sure that the other guests, you know, for the departure rooms, for the new arrivals, everything is 100% sanitized. Then we take the most care of the favorite garments, ensuring they are clean and the highest standards, delivered and placed in the wardrobe by our valet team, just in time for the team to get prepared for the special days. So I'm talking now about our laundry and valet department and their service. So we do have laundry service. Before the lockdown, I would say it used to be 24/7. And as you know, all the team is here servicing, you know, laundry, pressing, dry cleaning. We also have in-house seamstress who does guest alterations like last minute. So if we have, for example, a New Year's night, and we do have guests who are coming and saying, oh, my button collapsed, or I need the zip to be changed, we do have that, you know, service. And then we have a team who is sharing, you know, like seamstress who are serving the guests. Then we offer alternatives. Yeah, so then there was another one that we alternative services like pairing the shoes, you know, making all the clothes comfortable. So as a housekeeping, as a 5-star luxury hotel, we do have very high standard to make sure that all our guest amenities, you know, are put in the standards, you know, let's say from highest to lowest in the bottles, looking at where the shampoos, conditioners, or makeup. So sometimes we have to make sure that everything is nice and tidy. We do put cloths underneath, so it is really nice. So it is, we need to make sure that the guests, what they see, what they pay, that's what they get. I mean, a 5-star hotel, it is a bit, you know, a lot of guests are expecting a lot from us. So that's why we are maintaining and keeping it. So also here you can see our couple of the photos of the housekeeping team. So we was like, I think one of the first or second biggest department in the hotel. And here there are some photos shared, especially in these days. So in the housekeeping, we are helping our other departments with our team members to help and work during the day-to-day basis. So some of the teams you can see now, they are from the laundry or valet team working in the stewarding, helping with the back of house cleaning. Here you can see myself as well, washing the carpet with the carpet cleaning machine because we need to get rooms back. Porters as well doing extreme amount of the job, you know, getting rooms ready for cleaning it, high dusting, and sending items to wash. So it is a lot of things to be done, but we do have as well fun within our department. Then so I want to talk with you about some of the suites. So we do have some of the suites in our hotel where it is actually very, very important to us. So one of that is Eisenhower suite. So this suite is called like this because we had General Eisenhower who was staying at the Dorchester during the World War II, and he was always there with us, and it was really nice to have, you know, him at the building, at the hotel. and staying quite often. And then this room was named after him. So here you can see some photos where how the bedroom looks. With the, like, it's a sitting area, so the bedroom looks the same with the four-posted wooden bed, you know, a lot of wooden ornaments. We have some pictures of him as well in the suite. Here is his bathroom, where is marble, all marble bathroom. And actually Dorchester collection, there is a one key element that all the Dorchester collection bathrooms has marble bathrooms. Also, addition to the suite, Eisenhower suite has a balcony, which is facing front of the hotel, which is literally over the Dorchester sign. So it is really nice, you know, to get out and have some like breakfast in the terrace, especially in the summer. So it is really nice, very nice suite actually. So if you would be at the Dorchester, we would gladly show it to you. Next room would be David, we are calling it David Bowie suite. So as you know, David Bowie was songwriter and actor. And why we are calling his suite, that because he was actually staying quite a lot of times at the Dorchester, and he was staying in this suite in 603 and 4. So in addition, we did kind of, we talked about the David Bowie, and it's really nice to have the same as Eisenhower, to have David Bowie in our building, you know, as a memory of him. So we do have his records in the suite. We do have photos of him and his friends in the suite as well. So when you're coming in, it looks a little bit different with some additional items there. So the guests, when they're coming, who are like big fans of David Bowie, they can have his records playing in the room as well. Then Oliver Messel suite. So actually here is the suite where I am sitting now, and you can see behind me all the sitting room area with all the colorful curtains. So that is iconic, listed, and granted is dressed in a lavish rhapsody of a magical splendor. The suite of the suites. So designed by Oliver Messel and adored by a shimmering history of illustrious guests. Oliver Messel was an English artist and one of the foremost stage designers of the 20th century. So he designed his suite, and actually all the paint work, all the artwork, everything is done by him. And he was doing all the paintings on the doors, all the ornaments himself by hand. So this suite is listed, and it is really nice. You know, when you're coming in, some people say you love it or you hate it. So because as you can see, this sitting room is full with colorful curtains, with all the flowery, sofas are green, you know, carpet is pink and white, and it's all very, very colorful actually. And the bedroom, it is a lot of yellow color in it. So as I said, you love it or you hate it, but this is one of my favorite suites in the hotel actually. Then Harlequin Penthouse. So this is one of the top roof suites on the 9th floor. So we have a couple more, which is really nice. They have their own terrace, which is facing Hyde Park. And it is like many famous celebrities used to come here before the lockdown, and they're staying here because it is a nice view and spacious suites where they have also the dining table in. They can have the breakfast, lunch, dinner, or some guests coming over, you know, and see it. So expect the unexpected in our way of thinking. So I just want to give you one of the examples what we do. So we go above and beyond to meet our guest expectations and anticipate the guests, ensure they feel welcome and they are looked after. So this is one of the examples that one of our housekeepers, when the guests arrived into the hotel, and they arrived with a mother. And unfortunately for them, when they came into the room, the bed looked too high because the mother was in a wheelchair. And housekeeper, what she did, so she removed half of the bed, you know, mattress, and then we placed a smaller mattress for them, so it was easier to go for the mother into the bed. So we are going above and beyond to the guests to make sure that they are happy, they are comfortable, and everything goes as they planned. And, you know, we will make that happen. And there are many more examples about it, but you know, when you have, we could talk and talk about that. And it's not only about the guests, it's about the team also. So, you know, we are looking after ourselves, you know, after our team, because in the housekeeping, we're nearly 90 team members. So it is a big department and we are looking after each other. In the next slide, sorry. Then meet the team. So just quickly to go around, that housekeeping is unique. We are having fun, we are creative, we are passionate, we are talented, and we are proud what we do. So I could talk about all of those unique things, what we are doing, hours and hours. So talking about, you know, the uniqueness about the housekeeping department is that we are a lot of our team members, they are from different countries. So we are multicultural. We speak a lot of languages. If we have sometimes, you know, could be like difficulty with the room attendant, so we are helping each other, or we have some guests who are coming who doesn't speak English, but then we have a room attendant who speaks the language, or the housekeeper, so we are, you know, we can communicate with them. We do have fun, and as you know, housekeeping is celebrating the second week of September is our International Housekeeping Week. So with all the department, you know, we are celebrating that whole week entirely. So we're having some like picnics or bake-offs, some exercises, you know, that we all the team is involved. Also, we include the other departments as well, which is nice to join with them. As I said, we are passionate. It's not about only the passionate. I mean, we have a lot of team members who have been with the housekeeping over 25 years. So, you know, loyal service, it is as well one of the keys within the team. And we're very pleased to have them, you know, with our department who share their experience. And they know their guests, because we do have our regular guests who are coming back to the hotel. You know, sometimes, you know, sometimes we have guests who are coming every 2 weeks, coming back to the hotel. So it is really nice to see familiar faces. And as I said, we are proud what we are doing. I don't think that people wouldn't be proud when they're working 25 years at the Dorchester and doing what they do. So this is one as well of the keys why our team is unique. And here we are celebrating, there are some pictures where we are celebrating many of our achievements, unsung heroes, and as I mentioned, International Housekeeping Week. So when we are celebrating, you know, we get all the team together. We are celebrating unsung heroes. So about the people who have like guest mentions, you know, in guest recognitions as well, or team recognitions. We are also celebrating achievements, where last year we had 3 of our housekeepers and supervisors who attended apprenticeship, and they all 3 finished with a distinction. So it was very big achievement for our team. And this year we have another 5 team members who are going to apprenticeship. So, you know, we are helping and we are moving forward, you know, with the team. We are supporting them to grow in their roles. Yes, and I think that would be it, you know, from housekeeping. We can talk, I mean, it is a lot to tell you about, you know, it's not only cleaning rooms, it is maintaining all the hotel and, you know, looking after our guests, making sure that everyone is happy, safe, and everyone feels like welcome and home from home.
Brilliant. No, thank you, Victoria. So uniform's massively important, isn't it, with the team? You know, you all look very, very smart, you know, and similarly with the front of house uniform. I forgot to ask Lewis, actually, you know, in terms of the uniform, you know, are they traditional Dorchester uniforms, or do they get updated every so often? How does that work?
So uniforms that we are updating like every 4 to 5 years. It really depends as well on the, you know, what is the general manager's perspective, what do they want to see. But these are our traditional uniforms. So for example, as you saw in some of the photos, room attendants, they have the gray dresses. So this color has been here for many years, and we are trying to keep this tradition here because Dorchester is 5-star luxury British hotel. So we are looking, you know, to keep the same standard and the same traditions. So we don't really upgrade our uniforms, you know, that often. obviously we are looking after them. We have our laundry team in the hotel. So if we have, sometimes, accidents happen. So you go to our laundry, and they are helping us, to clean our uniforms. So our housekeepers' uniforms, as you can see, I am with this lovely gray jacket. So our uniform has been updated actually a couple of years ago, I think 2 years ago.
It looks very smart. So, when we came to the Dorchester for the day, we saw the massive laundry department, not just for the guests, but for the staff. So do you turn up at work and do you wear your civvies to work and then get your uniform when you arrive at work? Does everybody get their uniform? Oh, brilliant. Okay.
Yes. So we do have uniform room when everyone comes to the hotel through security. They have uniform room where they get the uniforms. They go to change, and then in the end of the shift, they put the dirty uniforms back in the uniform room. And then obviously our laundry is not only doing not the guest requests, but they also includes our uniforms. It includes sometimes our bedding as well for the rooms, curtain cleaning as well. So it is 24/7 service. And for everything.
I know you've got the strap line. When you're ready, we'll be waiting, isn't it? So it's kind of like the play on words of waiting, as in service, but also waiting for them to be ready. Everything's about the guest, isn't it? The guest at the centre, they're the VIP, and then everything you do sort of permeates around that. No, Victoria, this is fantastic. Love to see you so passionate about your element of the service offering. Thank you so much. We'll be sending this presentation out to the colleges so you can refer back to it, and we'll also send you a recording of this presentation, the whole event, so you can kind of refer back to it. So that's brilliant. So next we've got the penultimate bit of our event. We are running over a little bit, guys, but that's because it's also very interesting. We've got Phil Hammond in Flower Shop. He's the flower designer, aren't you, Phil?
Yes. Hello, everybody. I'm Phil Hammond, designer florist of the Dorchester. As you can see, David Dorman is out here ready to welcome us, and we're going to go and have a look inside the hotel.
Can we get the microphone a little bit closer to Phil, please? Whoever's our camera person. Is that Crystal, potentially?
Crystal is my glamorous assistant today. So this is the lobby of the Dorchester, one of the most famous lobbies in any hotel in London. And we're going to go through and have a look at our floral urns and then make our way to my wonderful new boutique. So as you can see here, you have these two huge flower arrangements. So these are the largest flower arrangements in London. No other hotel florist makes larger arrangements. And I always say, if somebody makes a bigger arrangement, I will make ours bigger. So as you can see down here, you have the promenade, which is where Lewis was talking about having our afternoon tea. So you've just seen the guests' journey into the hotel. And then as they come past our iconic urns, they make their way into our beautiful flower shop, which opened in January 2020 and has just reopened after the government changed the restrictions. So if you'd like to come on in and have a look. So this is one part of the hotel that we look after. So we have our retail offerings. So the great thing about us as in-house florists for the Dorchester is that we decorate the whole of the hotel, but also we are a revenue generating department. So we do this primarily through our shop, but also by providing flowers for weddings, events, you name it. If it's related to flowers, it will be done by us. So as you can see, we have an array of fresh flowers here in the shop. Customers can also order bouquets to be bespokely made for them. And then what we've just launched is our nationwide delivery service. So this is, Krista, if you can get that box. So this is our Dorchester Rose gift box. It was only launched last Thursday, and this is actually the first time that I'm showing this to anybody actually other than on social media pictures. So this is how the box will arrive. It's sent next day from the hotel to any UK postcode, and inside is something very special. So we're going to open the box. Now, as you can see, everything here is branded. So you've got all of the branding on the instructions. You've also got one of our cards, which tells guests in London exactly the services we offer. And then if you unwrap the tissue and then also untie the ribbon, which I've wrapped very tightly, because obviously these are going all over the country, so we want them to be nice and secure. So I'm just going to cut that ribbon. So inside this box, I'm going to just gently unwrap them for you. So inside is our Dorchester rose. So this rose variety is called the Dorchester, and wherever it's bought and sold throughout the world, it will be known as the Dorchester. It's really interesting what Adam and Mario and Tom were saying about suppliers and growers. Now, the reason why we have this rose is because of the relationships that we've developed with, number one, our supplier. So all of our flowers come from New Covent Garden Flower Market. And also it's about the growers of the flowers. So this particular rose, it took them 7 years to develop. And then when it was ready to come to the market, they said that they didn't know what to call the rose. And I stepped in and I said, you're going to call it the Dorchester and name it after us. And they said, well, that's not a bad idea. And that's how the story developed. And now we're developing this story around the Dorchester rose. Lewis was talking about the afternoon tea. So we use 50,000 of these per year in the promenade of the Dorchester alone. So you can kind of get an idea as to the scale of the amount of flowers that we use. And also, it's such a delicate scent that it accentuates the interior of the hotel. We're the only hotel in London to have a rose named after us, which is really special. And we are only the second hotel in the world to have a rose named after us. So the first one was the George V in Paris, and that rose was named Four Seasons, and then the Dorchester rose. And actually the Four Seasons is the sister of the Dorchester rose in terms of the rose breeding. And for me, the flowers throughout the Dorchester have to accentuate our interiors rather than take away from it. So this peachy tone really complements the tones of the promenade, and we use different flowers in all of the other areas of the hotel. And this is going to be a really popular rose for weddings and events this year, which are obviously really popular due to the lockdown. So now there's so many more people getting married, and this at the moment is turning out to be one of the most popular roses. In terms of other figures, so there's 5 of us that work permanently for the Dorchester full-time, decorating the whole of the Dorchester, but also our property next door, which is 45 Park Lane. So we have 2 properties to look after, 300 bedrooms in total, 7 restaurants, and then obviously we've been heavily involved with the Dorchester Rooftop, which is Tom's pop-up for this next 2 weeks. Doing all of the planting, all of the gardens, table arrangements, and really just enhancing the space altogether. Flowers play a huge role in the Dorchester. Obviously, during the lockdown, we had to take the flowers away because there were no guests, and the hotel felt completely empty without them. So it's great that we are starting to get the flowers back, and that from the 17th of May, the hotel will be operating properly, and there will be flowers everywhere again. So that's a little bit about us. If anybody's got any questions, then do feel free to let us know. And then I think we are over to Alice Mary now in our Human Resources Department.
Yes, thank you very much for that, Phil. That was excellent. It's great to see such a beautiful rose actually named after the hotel, and such a massive part of what you do at the Dorchester. You know, I mean, we've seen just such a layered offer that I think a rose signifies what you do at the Dorchester very, very well, with all the petals tightly intertwined, you know, to create something beautiful. As a result, it's quite a great metaphor, if you like, you know. So we've also finally got Alice Mary to wrap up. We are running over, which we thought we would, but we will be sending a recording of this event to you all, and anyone that's had to, you know, leave, we can, because I know you've got other lessons and things, you know, we will make sure that you see the entire event via your lecturers. So Alice, how would you like to add and conclude the event today, please?
Hello everyone, I'm just going to quickly share my screen. And I promise I'm not going to take up too much of your time. But yeah, thank you so much everyone for today. It's been so interesting. I'm definitely going to try out some of those recipes, and now I know, you know, I'm never going to cut my scone with a knife again, which I never knew before. And I love Phil's story about the rose as well, and all of the interesting things Victoria shared. I'm only going to take 5-10 minutes, but obviously this is all about talking about a career in the future at potentially the Dorchester, 45 Park Lane and Caviar Park. So you've seen today that we have lots and lots of restaurants across our 3 UK hotels, and some of them are so different. So one of the really amazing things about our properties is you can find something for you wherever you go, whether it's 3-star Michelin and Alain Ducasse, or something a bit more casual like the Barn at Caviar Park, or afternoon tea service. Maybe you're obsessed with pastries and sandwiches. There are so many different things across our 3 hotels for chefs to really engage and encourage themselves to discover what they're passionate about and what you might want to do next. And a really key part of this for us is our people. It always comes back to our people. It's you know, one of our main values is we care, and we really think about who we bring on and who we nurture and train and develop throughout their time with us. And chefs are no different, and are definitely a really central part to that story. And that's why it's so great to see you all here today, and to get to chat to you a little bit about what working here kind of looks like a bit. And you've had a really good insight today into what that might look like. And I just wanted to share 2 stories today so you can kind of understand what a career might look like. So I know we've seen Mario, but Mario started with us originally a long time ago as a commis chef at the Dorchester. And he loved working here, and he left for a few years. He really grew his career on different hotels in Park Lane, and then he came back as our executive sous chef a couple of years ago. And we were so proud to promote Mario last year into the executive chef role. He is truly a testament to development, to the Dorchester brand, to all of our values, and really passionate about everything we do. So he is a really iconic story for a chef's journey of development at the Dorchester and our other hotels. And then the other one I wanted to share was Neve. So you can see the lovely lady on the left. She started again with us as a commis chef in the pastry kitchen at the Dorchester. She moved to Caviar Park and she developed a bit there over a few years. And then she opened 45 Park Lane as their pastry chef, and now is their executive pastry chef. So her career spans over 10 years working at our Dorchester collection hotels, and she has tried out each and every single one of them to develop her style and her personality. And she makes some of the most delicious pastries you will ever have. So she's a really incredible testament to what we do and how we develop people throughout their careers to really be successful. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure you're all wondering what a career might look like here and how you get into working here. We've got lots of different opportunities. We offer work experience in our kitchens, so we're really happy to support 1 or 2 weeks doing that. We have lots of apprentices throughout the hotels. You know, we've got a couple over at Coworth, a couple at 45, and a band 5 at the Dorchester that we take on every year. So it's a really important part of our engagement. And then also, you know, coming in as an entry-level job, coming in as a commis chef, and really learning from the bottom. And our promotion statistics are incredible. You know, every year we always think, who can we promote first before we ever look externally, and that's really special for our development processes. So career progression is really key for us. If you're interested, you know, do keep an eye on our social media, both LinkedIn and Instagram. We're called People at the Dorchester on Instagram, and if you want to link up with me and ask any questions, I'd be really happy to hear from you. And we're going to connect with all of your colleges as well, so you'll have our contact details too. But yeah, just don't be scared. We're so open. We recruit with our values. We don't worry too much about skills. Skills are important, but you guys are all at fabulous colleges, and I'm sure you're learning really important things. So it's so about our 5 values and really bringing we care into everything we do. So we're so excited to have seen you guys today, and I hope you found it really interesting. And yeah, as we mentioned earlier, when you're ready, we'll be waiting.
Okay, thanks, Alice. Just one question for you, because obviously a number of the students today aren't
from London, I think he's trying to say. Please. So they're not from London. So, you know, I mean, how would they go about, you know, potentially finding accommodation when they get to London? Is there any staff accommodation? Can you help out with, you know, their first couple of months down in London? Could you do that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we don't have staff accommodation here in London, but we do at Caviar Park. So that is something we have at that hotel because it's slightly more rural an area. In London, we have loads of websites. We have a whole Welcome to London guide that we can send you, which teaches you about how do I find a GP, how do I navigate the tube, which thank God, because I use it all the time because I can't remember the tube myself, and really key areas as well where our employees live. We also have a benefit called a rental deposit loan, so we will help you if you need it to get that rental deposit in and support you during that. And we give lots of advice about where might be key for people to live. And we have, you know, tons of people moving from all over the world every year, which is really exciting, from graduates to placements and all of that. So we can really give a very comprehensive guide on how to do that. So it's nothing to be worried about, and it's very normal if you have questions about moving to London.
It's brilliant. Have we got Neil back again now?
Yeah, I think my battery ran out on my headphone speakers, so I've just gone up to the normal one, so sorry about that. Yeah, that was exactly the question I was going to ask, really, just that it's quite daunting. I'm from Bournemouth. I went to college in Bournemouth, and I went to London when I was 18, I think, and, you know, rent and travel are massive things to look into when you're you know, leaving home and going up to a city like London. But it was a brilliant experience, one I'll never forget. So I think it's fantastic that the Dorchester are offering that sort of level of support with the loans and the travel, and the welcome pack will really give people some fantastic support if they're considering a career with you.
Brilliant. No, I mean, today couldn't have gone better from my point of view. You know, everyone was so, you know, excited to be presenting their individual roles within the monster that is the beautiful monster that is the Dorchester. You know, how much work goes on behind the scenes, you know, how our students can very much be part of the whole operation. And it's great that, you know, we've been able to have a little snapshot into what goes on behind the scenes and the great people of the Dorchester behind it. So, I mean, as I said earlier, all of the participants today will be entered into a raffle, first of all, to win afternoon tea at the Dorchester. And then we're going to send you out a feedback form. And if you fill that in, we'll do a further raffle to enter you into a draw to win the same is afternoon tea and a bit of work experience at both properties. So you'll work around the various different departments that you've seen today, and that will culminate in a lovely afternoon tea that you've actually helped create. So, you know, there's no such thing as a free afternoon tea. That's what we say. So yeah, no, it's a fantastic opportunity, and we want to thank the people of the Dorchester for giving us their time today, for showing us around. Any questions you've got, please post to us via your lecturers. If you've got any, if any of you have got time to stay on for a quick chat now, then if you've got any questions, just put them in the chat briefly.
Or if any of the lecturers want to come on, if they've got time.
Well, we've got Mark Cooper here, I can see. Mark, do you want to unmute yourself, please?
Thank you, Catherine.
You're very welcome, Mark. You know, this is Mark Cooper. He's the pastry lecturer at the Manchester College. And Mark is extremely excited about the pastry competition, aren't you, Mark?
Yes, I mean, it's very important that an event such as this today has been fantastic for the students from all backgrounds, whichever department they're looking to go into. But I do think that we need to look as hospitality as a whole of how colleges and industry can work together, especially at a time as it is now. But yeah, as for competition wise, it's always good. Once I think Alex posted it on Twitter the other day, I was straight on there. What's the rundown with this? Because I've got budding students who want to go ahead and do the competition. But I also have a student who actually works with you down at the Dorchester. Sanjam Nagpal, yeah, I taught her, and she was the first ever student who, I think, from the Trafford College at that time when I was there, who won the I think Northwest Young Pastry Chef competition. and she's gone on to achieve great stuff, which like now working at the Dorchester, that's fantastic to see how well she's doing. Yeah, I think I posted a question earlier, and I think within industry, and it would be great to get the views of the chefs, is how can we put it together to the awarding bodies, i.e. in regards to me, there was a lot of emphasis on knowing your ingredients, knowing your produce, and there's not enough in the qualifications, as I see it. I don't know what other lecturers think, that's not learnt on the qualification as a basic standard, as in i.e. pastry. There's nothing specific as in saying, right, why do you use this flour? Why do you use that butter? It's all your ingredients. I think we need to get that more across, so that when you come to go and work with Tom or whichever chefs you go to work with, you do have that basic knowledge. So how we can do that and how we can work together. But not fantastic. My students here today, they've enjoyed it. We're all linked on the big screen in our theory classroom, and it was amazing. It was a fantastic journey of the Dorchester for the students who were seeing this today.
I think there were some really good points that you've raised there, Mark, and I think you're totally right. And some of the other aspects, like understanding, food costs and supply and where things come from, and really learning about the commodities in that sense, but also what you have to do to make them into profitable ingredients that have a contribution to your menu and to the business as a whole. So I think those type of things are missing, which is what I sort of picked up from what the chefs were saying earlier today. So I think it's really good points.
Yeah, definitely. Cheers, Neil.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mark.
No worries.
Right, so I think we better wrap up today, just because we are half an hour, well, 34 minutes over where we're meant to be. But no, it's been an absolutely wonderful experience. We've had excellent thank yous in the chat. You've got, Alana saying thank you so much for today. We've got Emma saying thank you. We've got Darcy saying thank you very much for the chance to look into how the Dorchester operates. I personally have really learnt a lot from today. Truly inspiring from Roshan. Georgina Bissono loves the flower presentation. So, the roses department, very well presented. Thank you. You've done a great job, guys. It's been really inspirational. Everyone's enjoyed themselves, and we'll look forward to doing this again in person with you once restrictions are lifted. We'll come and visit the hotel in person and actually have an actual tour with real people. But yeah, until we can do that, this was a great opportunity to meet you all. So thank you, Alice. Thank you all the chefs. Thank you, Lewis. Thank you all the speakers today. And we'll look forward to catching up with you soon. Have a lovely day. Take care.
Bye, everyone. Thanks.